LoveLore Library. Chapter 903. Let's go together. Kill this arrogant kid and avenge Brother Nan. It was unknown who among the black-shirt men said this, but it immediately resonated with everyone. So, these black-shirt men all leaned toward Yang Ming. Revenge, right? Yang Ming smiled and said, "You have to think about it. Your revenge is not worth it. In fact, the culprit who injured the guy just now was not me, but your boss. If he didn't ask this guy to come and trouble me, would he be like this now?" And some of the black-shirt men were obviously stunned. It seemed that Yang Ming's words seemed to make sense. Don't listen to this guy. Kill him. Jia Siwen shouted impatiently. Yes, kill him. The black-shirt men also reacted and continued to approach Yang Ming. AI, sometimes you know that you are going to die, but you still want to come. Why bother? Yang Ming shook his head. You are like a stupid bird. What is its name? You want to fill up the sea, but it is a waste of energy. Yang Ming kept his words. This time, he really only used one hand. However, he didn't say that he couldn't use his legs before. So, one hand and one leg flashed among the figures. Every time Yang Ming made a move, it was accompanied by a scream, indicating that a person fell. So, after the last scream, more than a dozen black-shirt men were all lying on the ground. They could only groan. Moreover, Xia Shui was stirring up trouble. When she saw someone who was not pleasing to the eye, she added a kick. These black-shirt macho men finally understood at this moment that the disparity in strength was useless no matter how many people there were. They were indeed like that stupid bird, doing a very meaningless thing. Seeing that Yang Ming actually easily beat his men to the ground, Jia Jingjing's face suddenly sank. It seemed that Yang Ming was a master. He really underestimated the strength of this guy. At this time, a waiter whispered a few words in Jia Jingjing's ear. A cruel smile immediately appeared on Jia Jingjing's face. Just now, he had asked the waiter to inquire about Yang Ming's background, such as what car Yang Ming drove, what the license plate was, and so on. From this information, one could indirectly reflect a person's identity and status. But now, when the waiter told Jia Jingjing that Yang Ming was just driving a Dongfeng truck, Jia Jingjing laughed. A truck driver actually dared to come here and show off. Wasn't it just that his kung fu was better? But that's nothing. No matter how powerful you are, can you be more powerful than a gun? Brat, I admit that you are very powerful. However, look at what this is. Jia Jingjing's right hand was already gripping onto a shiny pistol. The black muzzle of the pistol was pointed at Yang Ming. Raise your hands. I can spare your life. Ha 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 ha. Jia Siwen saw that his elder brother had taken out a gun, and he suddenly laughed wildly. How is it? Let's see if you're still so awesome. If you continue to be cocky, I will kill you with one shot. Put down the gun, or you will regret it. Yang Ming looked up and looked at Jia Jingjing disdainfully. Really? Jia Jingjing sneered. It seems that you won't shed tears until you see the coffin. I will cripple your legs first. After the words were spoken, the gunshot sounded. Bang, which was particularly loud and clear in the empty bar. Accompanied by the gunshot, a person fell. However, this person was not Yang Ming, but Jia Jingjing. Jia Jingjing's fat body fell directly from the DJ stage. Although it was only more than 2 meters away from the dance floor, his head was down. Jia Jingjing's head directly hit the ground, and he suddenly fainted. There was a bloody hole in his thigh that was bleeding. Xia Shui held a pistol in her hand and paid attention to the situation in the bar vigilantly. Xia Shui was a criminal police officer, and she recently had a serious case. The pistol was basically in her hand 24 hours a day. However, before this, there were too many thugs in the bar. Xia Shui was afraid that after she showed her identity and took out the pistol, not only would it not have a deterrent effect, but it would be even worse if these people took the gun away. After all, Xia Shui heard Jia Siwen say before that his brother still had a murder case on him. This kind of desperado would definitely not be afraid of the police. However, after Yang Ming defeated all the black-shirt men, Xia Shui was relieved. Her hand touched the handle of the gun at her waist. She was waiting for a good opportunity to control the situation with two identities. But what she didn't expect was that Jia Xingjing actually had a gun. Moreover, he wanted to use the gun to shoot Yang Ming. In a hurry, Xia Shui could only pull out the gun and shoot. Xia Shui wasn't Yang Ming. She couldn't guarantee that Yang Ming could be safe and sound under Jia Xingjing's gun. She was a policewoman. When someone threatened Yang Ming's life, Xia Shui could only take the first step and hurt Jia Xingjing. She didn't expect this guy to be overweight, so he directly fainted. Xia Shui quickly stepped forward to take the pistol in Jia Xingjing's hand and searched Jia Xingjing's body. After confirming that there were no other weapons, she returned to Yang Ming's side. Yang Ming originally wanted to use Jia Siwen as a meat shield at the moment when Jia Xingjing shot. This was also the reason why Yang Ming warned him that he would regret it after shooting. However, it seemed that he didn't even need to move. Xia Shui had already done it for him. Moreover, if this Jia Xingjing didn't faint, he should be very regretful, right? Isn't competing with a criminal police officer looking for death. However, as a girl, Xia Shui could shoot so decisively, and her marksmanship was so accurate. This made Yang Ming admire her very much. Why do you also have a gun? Jia Siwen was immediately dumbfounded. He looked at the gun in Xia Shui's hand with some shock and fear and asked stutteringly. You can have guns, but we can't. Xia Shui had a very bad impression of this Jia Siwen. At this moment, she wanted to deliberately anger him, so she glared at him, pointed the pistol at him, and said in a demonstration. Seeing that the situation was hopeless, Jia Siwen immediately became angry. The group of professionally trained thugs weren't Yang Ming's opponent. How could the two security guards and a few waiters around him be Yang Ming's opponent? He thought that his big brother had a secret weapon, a pistol in his hand. He could turn the situation around, but he didn't expect that the other party also had a gun. Then, what was the point of playing around here? Seeing his big brother's miserable appearance, Jia Siwen trembled. He was timid. When he saw Yang Ming smirking at him and Xia Shui pointing the gun at him, he was even more scared at this moment. Big brother, I was wrong. Can I cripple my right hand? I will listen to you. It's too late. Yang Ming said faintly, now what I said doesn't count. You have to ask the beautiful girl next to me how to deal with you. Didn't you ask me why I have a gun? Xia Shui took out a small book from her arms and measured it in front of Jia Siwen. I am a policewoman. Raise your hands. Now I suspect that you and your brother are an illegal violent gang. You have private guns and are on the run for murder. Jia Siwen was stunned. Now, he had the heart to cry. What kind of eyes do I have? I actually acted like a hooligan with a policewoman. I even threatened that my big brother is a murderer. What is the difference between this and surrendering? However, it seemed that there was no difference, but the difference in nature was big. Those security guards and waiters were not loyal to Jia Xingjing. They were all paid. At this moment, when they saw that Xia Shui was a policewoman, they all raised their hands. The two security guards who were supporting Jia Siwen also let go and raised their hands. Poor Jia Siwen. His lower body was unstable. Without the people supporting him on both sides, he immediately fell to the ground. Yang Ming looked at the miserable situation in the room. He couldn't help but sigh. If you knew this would happen, why did you do it in the first place? However, at this moment, the most excited person was Xia Shui. Originally, there was no clue for the haunted case. It made Xia Shui feel very depressed. She didn't expect to come to the bar to relax. It seemed that she had inadvertently solved a big case. This Jia Jingjing was guilty of private gun possession and illegal organization of people to fight. These crimes were needless to say. The most important thing was that he might be a murderer on the run. If this was the case, then it was impossible to deny Xia Shui's credit. As a result, although the haunted case had not been solved, Xia Shui had also solved another big case. So, she wasn't considered to be doing nothing. Thinking of this, Xia Shui's mood immediately improved. She somewhat believed the words of her sister. If she went to the bar more, she could really solve the case. At this point, Yang Ming naturally didn't intend to care about it. Anyway, Xia Shui was here. The follow-up matters should be handed over to the police. Xia Shui was afraid that Jia Siwen would have any strange movements. She handcuffed him, but she found that Jia Siwen had already peed in his pants. He couldn't make any struggle at all. After doing all this, Xia Shui took out her mobile phone and began to call the people in the team. She asked them to immediately bring people to the night dance bar. A major case had happened here. With Vice Captain Xiao's personal call and instruction, who dared to neglect? The members of the criminal investigation team on duty in the bureau immediately rushed to the night dance bar with the siren. As for Yang Ming, while Xia Shui was on the phone, he quietly called Bao Sanli. These two guys shouldn't have anything to do with Bao Sanli. Otherwise, things would be really difficult to handle. However, it shouldn't be. Bao Sanli still had a way to restrain his underlings. It was absolutely impossible for him to be so arrogant. Moreover, the people in Bao Sanli's security company were only responsible for guarding the place. It was absolutely impossible to provide guns, especially when the guns were personally taken out by the owner of the night dance bar. Then, it should have nothing to do with Bao Sanli. But to be on the safe side, Yang Ming still made a call. Baozi, do you know the night dance bar? Yang Ming asked concisely. I know. What's wrong? Brother Yang, did their people provoke you? Should I bring people over now to flatten them? Bao Sanli immediately asked after listening. Chapter 904. No need. I just want to know. Do you have any contact with the people in the night dance bar? Yang Ming lowered his voice and asked. I can't say that I have a connection with them. I barely know them. I can only say that I have met them before. It was originally Yu Xiangda's territory. After I took over, I also did some investigation. This night dance bar was said to be opened by a boss of the underworld after he retired. However, he never participated in the matters of Song Jiang's underworld. He was only active in his own territory. I was hindered by the fact that everyone was originally in the underworld, so I didn't find trouble with them. However, they were also very low-key and didn't dare to easily cause trouble. That's fine. Yang Ming said faintly, he didn't dare to provoke you, but he has provoked me now. Ah. Bao Sanli was stunned and immediately scolded, motherfucker, I thought he was quite honest. I didn't expect him to even dare to touch Brother Yang. Do you need me? I said no need. The Jia brothers will probably be sent to prison tomorrow, but the location of his bar is good. You find a way to occupy it. I don't need to teach you these things, right? Yang Ming said. Don't worry, Brother Yang. This is a small matter. Bao Sanli smiled. Now Bao Sanli was walking between the black and white. Although he was very powerful, he didn't easily do some illegal things. He wouldn't leave any evidence for others. Of course, this was also under the influence of Ho Jinhan. Bao Sanli became so cautious. However, in this way, Bao Sanli was very popular in Song Jiang's government and other aspects. It didn't take long for the police to arrive at the night dance bar. The door of the bar was opened. More than a dozen police officers rushed in instantly, holding pistols and waiting. Captain Xia. The one who spoke was Yi Chang, a captain of the criminal investigation team. The 5th Squadron has surrounded the entire bar. Xia Shui pointed to Jia Siwen, who was already scared to the point of shitting and urinating on the ground, and Jia Jingjing, who had fainted with blood all over his face. First, control these 2 people. The rest should be sent to the hospital. I suspect that some of them are on the run for murder. After Yi Chang received the instructions, he quickly followed Xia Shui's instructions and began to clean up the scene. Those who should be arrested were arrested, and those who should be sent to the hospital were sent to the hospital. Soon, the night dance bar quickly restored its tranquility. Except for Yang Ming, the rest of the people were the police. Even the waiters in the bar were invited back to assist in the investigation. However, because of Xia Shui, Yang Ming's statement was made on the spot. I'll leave the interrogation to you. I won't be going back, Xia Shui said to Yi Chang. Don't worry, Captain Xia. Yi Chang also knew that Xia Shui was now in charge of the haunted case. She might have just finished the night shift, and her body was tired. What's more, Captain Xia was also a normal girl. She had to date her boyfriend after work. Yi Chang belonged to the criminal investigation team. He usually did not work in the municipal bureau building, but in the duty room next to it. Therefore, Yang Ming went to the municipal bureau several times to look for Chen Fei, but Yi Chang did not see him. At this moment, he subconsciously thought that Yang Ming was Xia Shui's girlfriend. When he heard that Yang Ming alone defeated a group of black-shirt bodyguards, he was very impressed. He thought, Captain Xia is powerful, and her boyfriend is not a coward. He is actually so strong. He is even fiercer than the SWAT team. I don't know what he does for a living. If there is a chance, it would be good to learn from him. However, even if Xia Shui was not present, the first-class credit for this case belonged to Xia Shui. Chen Fei was not a person who liked to take credit, and at his age, he really did not need to take credit. In terms of qualifications, he should be able to succeed in a few years, so Chen Fei gave the credit to the young people. After all, they still had a long way to go. Out of the bar, Xia Shui got into the passenger seat of the Dongfeng truck under Yi Chang's surprised gaze. It can't be, right? Captain Xiao's boyfriend is a truck driver. Why doesn't it feel like it? If a truck driver can have this skill, then there will be no road robbers in the future. However, after thinking about it, Captain Xia was investigating the haunted case these few days. Maybe she deliberately asked her boyfriend to drive such a big truck for both of them to investigate openly and secretly. The bottle of Corona was small, and 5 bottles were really nothing for Yang Ming. During the fight, all the alcohol had been sobered up, so now there was no problem for him to drive. However, Xia Shui was a little worried. Can you do it? Why don't we take a taxi back? Forget it. Do you think that I won't get a ticket tomorrow if I park my car on the roadside overnight? Yang Ming smiled bitterly. If it is, I will help you remove it. Xia Shui was very indifferent. Forget it. I'm fine. Yang Ming smiled and said, I didn't expect this trip to the bar to help you solve a big case. Yeah. Xia Shui was a little excited when she thought of this. Yang Ming, I found that you seem to be my lucky star. Last time, when I was with you, I inexplicably solved a big smuggling case. Although Xia Shui had also sobered up, her immunity to alcohol was obviously not as good as Yang Ming's. She was still slightly drunk, and she was particularly excited when she spoke. Hee, Yang Ming, if I were to be with you often, then wouldn't the position of the bureau chief be just around the corner? Yang Ming couldn't help but shake his head after listening. Why do I feel like I'm not a lucky star, but a disaster? You're making me sound like Detective Conan. Wherever I go, there will be a case. Or, Yang Ming, you can just come and accompany me more in the future. Maybe this haunted case can be solved easily. Xia Shui was originally embarrassed to say this, but after drinking, she became bold. She wasn't so embarrassed when she said this. I'm fine with it, but when you have a boyfriend in the future, wouldn't he be jealous? Yang Ming teased Xia Shui. He didn't know why, but when Yang Ming thought of Xia Shui getting married in the future, he felt a little sad. After all, something would have happened between the two of them. This was like something that should have belonged to him suddenly being taken advantage of by others. There was a feeling of loss. Che, I'm not looking for a boyfriend. Xia Shui didn't understand the hidden meaning in Yang Ming's words. Instead, she waved her hand in a daze. Why do I need a boyfriend? I can also support myself. Besides, I have a long-term meal ticket like you. If worst comes to worst, I will go and eat your food after I lose my job. But, the police shouldn't lose their jobs, right? There will always be bad guys. When Yang Ming heard Xia Shui's words, he didn't know whether to be happy or to smile bitterly. What kind of person does Xia Shui think I am? A sucker? Or a dumb rich guy? But obviously, Xia Shui shouldn't be such a person. She always asked him to treat her to a meal. Most of the time, it was more of a joke. Although he didn't know what Xia Shui's family did, all signs indicated that it shouldn't be simple. Moreover, Xia Shui didn't seem to be short of money. Her salary and bonus were not small. How could she not be able to afford a meal? Yang Ming. Why am I hungry again? Xia Shui frowned and touched her lower abdomen. We seem to have just eaten, right? We just drank. When did we eat? Yang Ming listened to Xia Shui's words and turned his head, but he saw that Xia Shui's face was slightly red, and her eyes were a little blurred. It can't be, right? There is still aftershock. I thought that Xia Shui was about to sober up. I didn't expect her to be confused again. Yang Ming guessed it right. Xia Shui was indeed confused again. Xia Shui's alcohol tolerance was still good, but because of the pressure of work, she wanted to get drunk to relax. Therefore, the 5 bottles of Corona that weren't very strong made her a little drunk. Previously, because of the tense situation, Xia Shui's conditioned reflex drove the drunkenness in her body to the side. But now, because of relaxation and excitement, the alcohol came back. Oh. Yes, I didn't eat just now. Xia Shui nodded and said, then, where are we going to eat? What do you want to eat? Yang Ming was a little dumbfounded. Xia Shui was really cute at this time. He couldn't help but think of Huang Lele. He thought that the two of them could become good sisters. I want to eat fried cakes. At this moment, Xia Shui was already a little tired. She was on the verge of being half asleep. When she said the 3 words fried cakes, Xia Shui pursed her lips as if she was swallowing her saliva. Fried cakes. Yang Ming was stunned. Where are we going to get fried cakes in the middle of the night? Just as he wanted to ask Xia Shui to change it, he turned his head and saw that Xia Shui had fallen asleep. Her eyes were slightly closed, and her seductive little mouth was opening and closing. She seemed to be eating fried cakes in her dream. It was very cute. Yang Ming shook his head and parked the car on the side of the road. He locked the door and turned up the heater in the car. Yang Ming was also a little tired. Not eating for a day was nothing for Yang Ming. When he was training in Europe, he didn't eat or sleep for a few days, but he survived. Yang Ming put down the car seat for Xia Shui so that she could sleep more comfortably. After doing this, Yang Ming also put down his seat and prepared to rest in the car. He didn't know how long he slept, but there was a fierce knocking sound outside the window. Yang Ming woke up from the moment the window was knocked on. He sat up and looked out of the window vigilantly, but he saw a traffic policeman and a police car with flashing lights beside him. Yang Ming pressed down the window glass and asked, "What's the matter?" "Parking is not allowed here. Please show your license," the traffic policeman said politely. Yang Ming remembered that when he saw Xia Shui fall asleep, he casually parked the car on the side of the road. He didn't expect to attract the patrol traffic police on duty at night. Chapter 905. At this time, Xia Shui was also woken up. She sat up in a daze and saw the traffic police outside the car. She immediately understood what was going on, so she took out her ID and handed it to the traffic police outside. "I'm from the criminal police team. I was handling a case at night. I was a little sleepy, so I rested here for a while." The traffic police looked at the title on Xia Shui's ID. After learning that she was the deputy captain of the criminal police team, he was stunned. He immediately remembered that the continuous haunted traffic cases in the past few days were handled by Captain Xia of the Municipal Bureau's criminal police team. Their traffic police team was naturally clear about the recent cases. It could be said that they were the first to arrive at the scene. In the past few days of meetings, the leaders of the team had also emphasized that if they encountered a suspicious traffic accident, they must immediately inform Captain Xia of the criminal police team and cooperate with Captain Xia's work. Come to think of it, Captain Xia should be looking for clues to the haunted case at this moment. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but be in awe. He felt a little embarrassed. She was working so hard, but he disturbed her rest. He quickly saluted, "Captain Xia, I'm really sorry to disturb your rest, but this road is a commuter road. After 6:00, the traffic flow will be relatively large, so." Xia Shui was also a little embarrassed. After all, she used the excuse of handling the case to make the traffic police respect her so much. She quickly said, "We will drive the car away." "Okay, thank you for cooperating with our work." The traffic police returned the ID to Xia Shui and said quickly. In his heart, he admired Xia Shui even more. Look at her. She is handling a case. She should enjoy privileges, but she is also so fair and law-abiding. Yang Ming saw that and blushed a little. He thought, these two are really, so he quickly started the car and slowly turned to the side road. How did I fall asleep? Xia Shui rubbed her eyes, but she was a little unwilling in her heart. Just now, I was having a beautiful dream. I dreamed that my grandmother fried a large pot of fried cake for me. I couldn't finish it no matter how I ate. It was so delicious, but I was woken up like this. You were saying that you were going to eat fried cake, and then you fell asleep. Yang Ming smiled as he drove. Ah. Xia Shui was stunned. She thought, did I say that I was going to eat fried cake? Yeah, then you probably ate it in your dream. Yang Ming continued, then you fell asleep. I didn't. Xia Shui's face suddenly turned red. She was very embarrassed. However, with Yang Ming's words, his stomach started to growl again. Eating in a dream didn't count. But it is estimated that the stalls that sell breakfast have not opened yet. Let's just drive around. Yang Ming said, we can't just park, but it should be fine to drive. Xia Shui wasn't sleepy at this moment. She was a lot more awake, so she nodded and said, okay, then let's walk around. Maybe we can find clues to the haunted case. You really want to make a contribution so much that you're going crazy. How can you find clues just because you want to? Yang Ming turned off the heater in the car. It was a little too hot, so hot that it was uncomfortable. Yang Ming aimlessly drove the car back and forth between the big and small intersections of Songjiang. At 4:00 in the morning, it was the time when the traffic on the street was the least. Occasionally, a few large trucks like the one that Yang Ming drove passed by, but they were all in a hurry. Yang Ming was suddenly stunned. He rubbed his eyes inconceivably. Could it be that my eyes were blurred just now? Yang Ming raised his head and looked ahead with some doubts. It was still a straight road. However, at that moment, the situation that Yang Ming saw wasn't like this. What Yang Ming saw was that there was no road in the distance, but a wall. There was a road on the right side of the wall. Could it be that I am hallucinating? Yang Ming frowned. Logically, his will should be much stronger than the average person, and his eyesight should be much better than others. How could there be a possibility of blurred vision? As he was thinking about it, he heard Xia Shui scream, "Yang Ming! What are you doing? Stop the car! What's wrong?" Yang Ming recovered and asked with a puzzled look. "What do you mean what's wrong? Turn to the right. Can't you see that there is a wall in front?" Xia Shui screamed in horror. Her hand couldn't help but grab Yang Ming's steering wheel. She wanted to steer to the right. Yang Ming listened to Xia Shui's words and was somewhat inexplicable. What wall in front? Turn to the right. What nonsense is Xia Shui talking about? Suddenly, Yang Ming was shocked. He thought of the situation that he saw in an instant. In that case, what I saw just now wasn't an illusion. Or it could be said that it was an illusion, but Xia Shui also had the same illusion. Yang Ming ignored Xia Shui. He held the steering wheel tightly and didn't let her move at all. Yang Ming was very sure about this road because when he got rid of Little Dorsk, he took this road. Therefore, Yang Ming was convinced that there was indeed a road in front, not a wall. The wall on the right was the wall. Ah! Xia Shui screamed and watched as Yang Ming drove the car into the wall. Although Xia Shui was a policewoman, she was still a girl in the end. Although she was braver than ordinary people, at this moment, what was the use of being braver? This wasn't a sci-fi movie, but a real car hitting a wall. Xia Shui closed her eyes in despair. I'm still very young. There are many things that I haven't done, many things that I haven't eaten, many places that I haven't been to, and many things that I haven't enjoyed. Am I going to die like this? I haven't been in a relationship and haven't had sex. I don't know what it feels like. If I had known earlier, I would have done it with Yang Ming last time, and... Xia Shui was stunned. Why am I not dead yet? According to the speed just now, at most 1 second, the car would be destroyed and I would be dead. However, it has been a few seconds. Why am I not dead yet? Could it be that Yang Ming stepped on the brakes or turned right at the last moment? Xia Shui opened her eyes in doubt and looked back, but she saw a scene that surprised her. The body of the car passed through the wall that she saw. However, it remained intact and continued to move forward. However, the wall behind it was still there. What is going on? Xia Shui widened her eyes and looked at Yang Ming in disbelief, gasping for breath. Yang Ming was also very puzzled. After Xia Shui said that she saw the wall, Yang Ming began to wonder. Could it be that I also encountered a haunted case? Yang Ming slowly parked the car on the side of the road and carefully recalled the moment when he saw the wall appear and disappear. Was there anything strange? At that time, I did see the road in front of me. It was a wall, but after seeing the wall, there seemed to be something in my body. Under the urging of this kind of thing, my mind suddenly became clear, and the wall in front of me no longer existed. Could it be that my physique is still abnormal? Or am I thinking too much, and my nerves are a little too sensitive? Is all this the credit of the special ability? Yang Ming wasn't very clear. If it was the credit of the special ability, then it made sense because the special ability could pass through any object and see the things in front. However, I seemed to feel it at that time. There seemed to be something in my body. When he heard Xia Shue's question, Yang Ming took a deep breath and calmed his emotions. He asked, "Did you really see it just now?" "It wasn't a road in front of us, but a wall." "Yeah. Not just now, but now." As Xia Shui said this, she turned her head. Just as she wanted to say something, she was stunned. After a while, she said, "Where is the wall behind us?" Yang Ming shook his head and said word by word, "There is no wall behind us. Just now, and now." Then what I saw just now was it because I was in a daze? Xia Shui was very puzzled. How did the wall disappear? Yang Ming suddenly felt a little embarrassed. He didn't know how to answer Xia Shui's words, but he couldn't say that Xia Shui was in a daze. What happened just now was very complicated. It was likely to be an important clue to the haunted case. Yang Ming didn't want to leave the clues that were hard to get unsolved. However, how could Yang Ming tell Xia Shui? If Yang Ming said that he didn't see it, then Xia Shui would definitely think that she was hallucinating, and she wouldn't think too much about it. But what if he said that he saw it? Xia Shui would definitely ask, "Since you saw it, why did you crash the car into the wall?" Yang Ming, of course, couldn't explain the special ability to Xia Shui. He couldn't say that he returned to normal in an instant. Then, he could only express his meaning in another way. After hesitating for a long time, Yang Ming said, "You weren't in a daze. I also saw the wall just now." "Ah. You said that you saw it too." Xia Shui was obviously stunned, and then she said, "If you saw it, why did you crash the car into it?" Sure enough, Xia Shui still asked this question. However, Yang Ming had already thought of an excuse. "I am very familiar with this road. I have driven this road more than once or twice, so I am very clear about what is on this road and what isn't. For example, this road leads to Shanty Town. There is only one main road in Songjiang that leads to Shanty Town. So, is it possible to block it with a wall? What's more, I passed by here yesterday. How could a wall be built in a day? I thought I was in a daze at the time, so I just drove over without thinking." "Really? That's fine." After Xia Shui heard it, she patted her chest with lingering fear. "If you remembered it wrong, then aren't we dead now?" "No, it's not right. I reminded you before that you were going to crash into the wall. How could you be so sure? Didn't you hesitate?" Yang Ming thought that it wasn't good. Xia Shui was indeed a criminal investigator. She didn't let go of any loopholes. "Yes, Xia Shui also reminded me at the time. How can I explain this?" Chapter 906. However, before Yang Ming could explain, Xia Shui said, "You are really stubborn. You still insist on your own opinion. But it is precisely because of this that we both escaped a disaster." Yang Ming laughed twice. He thought to himself, "I have indeed escaped a calamity." However, the disaster that the two people were talking about was naturally not the same thing. However, at this moment, Yang Ming didn't have the intention to explain anything to Xia Shui. The situation just now was too weird. If one person had hallucinations, it would be fine, but now the problem was that two people had hallucinations at the same time. What kind of power can make two people hallucinate at the same time? Of course, mirages and the like could be excluded. Although Songjiang was a coastal city, it was impossible to have a mirage in the middle of the night in the urban area. Besides, there was no precedent. Yang Ming also dabbled in the knowledge of making people hallucinate in the information that Fang Tian gave him. Some drugs could be used to make people hallucinate, but Yang Ming and Xia Shui were sitting in the car. It was impossible for someone to use drugs through the car. There was only one remaining situation, and that was witchcraft. Witchcraft was actually a general term for some unknown and strange spells. After subdivision, voodoo, black magic, and so on could also be counted as one of them. Yang Ming wasn't sure if black magic really existed, but he had personally experienced voodoo. Wait, could it be that Xia Shui and I were put under a voodoo just now? In the past, when he played with Lan Ling on the bed, there was once when Lan Ling used an illusion-like voodoo technique on him, making him unable to catch her in bed. After that, Lan Ling also said that this was a very simple illusion technique. Many people in her clan could use it. It didn't require much effort to cause people to hallucinate. However, why wasn't I confused by the illusion just now? At that time, Yang Ming remembered that he was played by Lan Ling on the bed. Wait. Yang Ming suddenly thought of a very important matter. After he was inflicted with the voodoo from Lan Ling's mother, Lan Ling seemed to have unintentionally mentioned that this voodoo had both advantages and disadvantages. The advantage was that other than Lan Ling herself and her grandmother, no one else could inflict voodoo on Yang Ming. However, at that time, Yang Ming didn't pay much attention to it, so he couldn't remember exactly what Lan Ling said. Because it was rare for a person to be afflicted with a goo once in their lifetime, who could be afflicted with it twice in a row? Now that he thought about it, could it be that he and Xia Shui were really poisoned by a goo? He was immune to it because of the voodoo, but Xia Shui didn't have this opportunity, so she was confused by the illusion. Thinking of this, Yang Ming quickly used his special ability to detect if anyone was hiding nearby. But unfortunately, on this street, there was no one else except for his big truck. It was unnecessary to investigate further. Both sides of the street were residential areas, so there would definitely be people. Moreover, there would be more than one person. Yang Ming couldn't carefully check everyone. Yang Ming didn't understand how far this illusion could affect, so now he couldn't check again. Yang Ming really regretted that he didn't learn from Lan Ling carefully when he was with her. So, both of us just had an illusion. Xia Shui was still immersed in the horror just now. She didn't notice that Yang Ming's expression had changed a few times. Yes, don't you think that the scene just now is familiar? Yang Ming was calmer than Xia Shui. Although the association thought of more complicated possibilities, it was better than having no clue. You mean, the haunted case? Xia Shui also faintly felt that things seemed to be a bit unusual. After being reminded by Yang Ming, she immediately thought of the haunted case. Indeed, according to one of the survivors of the car accident, they turned because there was no road in front of them. As a result, they crashed into the wall. If it weren't for the fact that the speed of the car wasn't very fast, these people would have all died. Yang Ming nodded. It seems that we have just encountered a haunted case. Ah! Xia Shui screamed. She pushed the door open and jumped out. She ran to the place where she saw the wall behind her. Xia Shui. Yang Ming called, but it was obviously useless. He also understood Xia Shui's mood at the moment. It was not easy to have a clue. How could she let it go easily? However, Yang Ming had already used his special ability to investigate. There were no suspicious characters at all. However, because he was afraid that something would happen to Xia Shui, Yang Ming still got out of the car and quickly followed Xia Shui. At this moment, Xia Shui carefully squatted at the approximate position where she saw the wall before, holding a small black pistol in her hand. She looked vigilant and observed the movements around her. In order to ensure that nothing went wrong, Yang Ming used his special ability to explore the surroundings again, but the result was still nothing. How did this happen? Is it using a 3D movie? Xia Shui observed for a long time and didn't find anything suspicious. She originally thought that the criminal used a high-tech 3D movie to achieve the illusion, but Xia Shui didn't find any suspicious electronic equipment nearby. 3D movie? Yang Ming was stunned, and then shook his head. This is impossible. If the illusion didn't disappear, it might be a 3D movie, but his illusion was only for a moment, which meant that what he saw was an illusion and not an illusion. It shouldn't be a 3D movie. A 3D movie can't be so realistic. Yang Ming said, if it is a 3D movie, it is impossible to not see the flaws when the car lights flashed. Yang Ming could only analyze the problem from a scientific point of view. It was impossible to say too much to Xia Shui because no matter how good the relationship between the two was, Yang Ming didn't trust Xia Shui 100%. Unless one day, Xia Shui really became his woman, then Yang Ming was likely to tell her his secrets. Xia Shui listened to Yang Ming's words and calmed down. Indeed, she was too eager for quick success and didn't think too much about it. She thought that the problem was relatively simple. You're right. It shouldn't be a 3D movie, but how did the criminal suspect achieve it? Xia Shui frowned. Previously, I had some doubts about the words of the survivors of the car accident, but now, after experiencing it personally, I know that things are really so weird. I just looked around for you. There is no one nearby. Yang Ming said, it's almost dawn. Let's go. Xia Shui had to nod helplessly. She also knew that if there was a criminal suspect, he would have run away long ago. It was impossible for him to wait here for her to catch him. Originally, this matter had little to do with Yang Ming. Whether it was a haunted or a car accident, it was the police's responsibility. Yang Ming didn't want to care, and he wouldn't care. But now, it had aroused Yang Ming's interest. If his guess was correct, and the matter was really related to voodoo, could it be done by the hostile forces of Lan Hai? This gave Yang Ming the idea to find out. Of course, if these forces were really involved, then it should be difficult for the police to solve the case. He could only rely on his own efforts. At most, he would give the credit to Xia Shui in the end. Xia Shui also knew that it was futile to continue the investigation, so she got in the car with Yang Ming. At the place where Yang Ming and Xia Shui were just now, there was a trembling figure in a residential building next to it. After seeing Yang Ming leave, he breathed a sigh of relief and sat down on the bed. Chen Afu touched his chest and secretly regretted. How could I be so unlucky? I met my nemesis again. Every time I pretended to be a ghost in front of him, not only did it not work, but if I was caught by him, it would be very miserable. Chen Afu didn't understand why his voodoo had no effect on Yang Ming. Not only did it have no effect, but he even dared to come back to investigate after seeing through it. If it were someone else, they would have been scared away. But this Yang Ming was bold and didn't seem to be afraid of this at all. When Yang Ming came back to investigate, Chen Afu was scared. He was afraid that Yang Ming would find him, so he had been curled up in the corner and didn't dare to move. He just looked out of the window with his peripheral vision. Chen Afu was relieved until Yang Ming left. Recently, the police investigation was very serious. Chen Afu didn't dare to go out and could only hide at home. The street below Chen Afu's house led to Shanty Town. There were not many rich people in Shanty Town, and there were even fewer who had cars, so few people would drive by at night. Today, he finally found a good opportunity. A big truck passed by the section below his house. He thought that it would destroy his car and kill him. He didn't expect to attract Yang Ming, this jinx. Chen Afu was very worried. Elder Yu urged him to hurry up and get more bodies. He was about to succeed in whatever skill he was practicing. Chen Afu was also very afraid of Elder Yu. That person, or it could be said that he was simply not a person. He had inexplicable power. Chen Afu held his head in pain and squatted on the ground. These few scares were completely without the previous thrill. It was like a routine task. The more he was urged, the more upset he was. Chen Afu didn't know what to do. He even missed the life of a high school student. Although he was a follower of Wang Jitao every day, he also had something to do. Unlike now, he lived in fear every day. Yes, Chen Afu was actually scaring others and making them feel fearful. But as the matter expanded, the police attached great importance to it. Chen Afu was afraid. Chen Afu was afraid that the police would find him. He didn't dare to go out and scare people again, but Elder Yu forced him to go out again. Especially when he saw Yang Ming, Chen Afu was even more afraid. If Yang Ming found out that he scared him again, he would probably be beaten to death. He didn't expect that he would have business as soon as he set up his stall. It seemed like a good sign. 1 kilogram of fried cakes, 2 fried dough sticks. 2 bowls of tofu pudding. Yang Ming said to the boss. Okay. When the boss heard that the two of them asked for a lot, he immediately went to serve them happily. Will you be able to eat that much? Xia Shui watched the boss throw the fried cakes on the chopping board into the oil. She couldn't help but worry, isn't the fried cakes too much for you to eat? I'll just eat the fried dough sticks, said Yang Ming. Aw. Do you think I'm a pig? How can I eat 1 kilogram? Xia Shui widened her eyes and looked at Yang Ming, dumbfounded. Yang Ming asked for so much out of kindness, but even if she liked to eat fried cakes, she couldn't ask for so much. If you can't eat it, you can take it away. Anyway, this thing can be eaten when it's cold. Yang Ming said, this place is going to be relocated soon. I'm afraid you won't be able to eat it in the future. Relocation. Xia Shui nodded. She knew that Yang Ming was being kind, so she didn't say anything. Soon, the things they asked for were served. Yang Ming and Xia Shui drank the steaming hot tofu pudding that had just come out of the pot, but it had a different taste. This feeling is very good. It's much better than going to the porridge shop, said Xia Shui. If you like it, then come often in the future. Otherwise, there won't be a chance. Yang Ming was also a little emotional. The modernization of the metropolis naturally had the benefits of modernization, but these traditional old businesses were going to disappear. Not long after, the sky was already bright, and the people at the breakfast stall began to increase. Most of them were nearby residents, but Yang Ming observed carefully and found that there were actually many taxi drivers. It seemed that the breakfast here was really popular. Generally, taxi drivers ran on the road all day long. They knew very well where the breakfast was good. If they could come here, it meant that this place was really good. Didn't I tell you not to sell it? Why are you still here? You made such a mess. Fuck. A white old-fashioned Nissan van stopped near these breakfast stalls, and a few macho men wearing sunglasses came down from the van. Guys, it's not easy for us to do business here. We can only sell for a few days. The fried cake owner who was still smiling just now saw these people, and the smile on his face suddenly turned into a bitter smile. Fuck, if you continue to fucking dawdle, I will smash it for you. One of the men wearing sunglasses pushed the fried cake owner and scolded, hurry up and make space for me. Is this a place that you can occupy? It's only 6:00. We closed at 8 o'clock. The fried cake owner said with difficulty. Take your fucking slap. The man wearing sunglasses was impatient. He slapped the fried cake owner and pushed him aside. If you don't want to take it, I will take it for you. What is this person doing? Yang Ming frowned and asked Xia Shui, is he an urban management officer? I don't know. He isn't wearing a uniform. Xia Shui also shook her head. She didn't know what this group of people was doing. Listening to the conversation between Yang Ming and Xia Shui, a diner next to them whispered, what urban management officer? The urban management officers in this area are very kind. Sometimes they help these vendors to maintain order. These people are from the demolition company. Every day, they set up a shed at the entrance of the alley, and then handle the demolition registration. They are dissatisfied that these breakfast stalls are blocking their position, but I think they are used to being overbearing. They are looking for trouble. Most of the residents in this area were very dissatisfied with these demolition company people, but dissatisfaction was dissatisfaction. They could only curse in private. They didn't dare to confront them directly. Why don't you call the police? Yang Ming glanced at Xia Shui and asked the man. Call the police. What's the use of calling the police? When the police come, they will pretend to be white-collar workers in the company. They can't do anything in front of the police. When the police leave, whoever calls the police will be unlucky. The man shook his head and said helplessly, who wants to get involved in this? Now, the demolition is being evaluated. If you offend them, they will estimate the lowest price for your house. Then, you are the one who will suffer. After Yang Ming heard it, he glanced at Xia Shui with a smile. He meant, it seems that the work of the police is not done well. Xia Shui glared at Yang Ming. She thought, it's not that I don't want to manage this kind of thing, but it is too difficult to manage. If the police force is put on these things every day, is there a need to do anything else? Besides, violent demolition isn't something that the police can manage as a law enforcement department. These demolition companies appear to be complying, but they are contrary. It is a very troublesome problem. As they were talking, the macho man with sunglasses came over and came to Xia Shui's table. He said impatiently, hurry up. Stop eating. Let's go. Let's go. We haven't finished eating yet. What right do you have to drive us away? Xia Shui was already angry with this macho man. Because of him, she was scolded by Yang Ming with his eyes for no reason. At this time, naturally, she wasn't in a good mood. Oh. This little girl is quite arrogant, right? But, it's useless to be arrogant. Don't make this master unhappy. You won't have a good time. As the macho man in sunglasses finished speaking, he grabbed the foot of Yang Ming's table. With a force, he overturned the table. The tofu pudding and fried cakes on the table fell to the ground. Xia Shui was distressed. My favorite fried cakes. I haven't eaten enough yet, and it fell to the ground just like that. A burst of anger surged in her heart. If I don't give this arrogant guy a look today, then I'm not Xia Shui. Do you know that what you are doing now is illegal? Xia Shui's face was gloomy as she glared at the macho man in sunglasses. Illegal? I am the law here. This area belongs to me. I can do whatever I want. The macho man in sunglasses listened to Xia Shui's words and smiled disdainfully. What? You don't accept it. If you don't accept it, I will tear you down too. Why don't you try tearing me down? How could Xia Shui be afraid of a hooligan like him? Little girl, you forced me to make a move. As he said this, the man in sunglasses reached out to grab Xia Shui's chest. This guy saw Xia Shui's beauty, so naturally, he wouldn't let go of the opportunity to take advantage of her. Ah! Before the man in sunglasses could make a move, he let out a scream. He covered his face and squatted on the ground. However, his face was still bubbling, and the skin on his face had fallen off. Yang Ming held the oil pot and looked coldly at the macho man in sunglasses who was squatting on the ground. I hate it when people act like hooligans to the women around me. Brother Ma, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? The other macho men saw the macho man in sunglasses covering his face and squatting on the ground. They quickly ran over and saw that the skin on the macho man's face had been burned off by the hot oil. Destroy this kid. One of the macho men shouted, Avenge Brother Ma. Quickly send me to the hospital. Brother Ma was about to cry after listening. He endured the pain on his face and roared. His voice changed. It's good that you are avenging me, but the most important thing now is to send me to the hospital quickly. Chapter 908. Kid, you are finished. You can wait for your death at home. Before helping Brother Ma into the van, the few macho men didn't forget to threaten him. Okay, don't waste time. Your little brother Ma will be disfigured in a while. Yang Ming smiled indifferently. The van left, and the people present were dumbfounded. They didn't expect Yang Ming to be so fierce. He actually poured a pot of hot oil on Brother Ma's head. Yang Ming, you are deliberately hurting him. Xia Shui frowned and whispered to Yang Ming. Although she was very happy that Yang Ming protected her, she didn't agree with Yang Ming's approach. Hey, don't worry. I won't trouble you. I promise that they won't dare to call the police. Yang Ming smiled. That's the best. Otherwise, I won't open the back door for you. Xia Shui glared at Yang Ming. Yang Ming was very indifferent. People like Brother Ma wouldn't call the police. Even if he wanted to call the police, his boss wouldn't let him. If the violent demolition was obstructed and oil was poured, it would bring a lot of pressure to the demolition work. Maybe the relevant departments would supervise the entire demolition process. The unlucky ones would be themselves. Therefore, this loss could only be swallowed in the stomach. If they wanted to retaliate, they could only do it privately. Yang Ming wasn't worried that they would retaliate against Xia Shui. Even if they found Xia Shui, so what? They wouldn't dare to go to the police station to cause trouble. That was assaulting the police. The boss of the demolition company wouldn't do it even if he was a tiger. I'm sorry, boss. I poured your oil. How much is it? I will compensate you. Yang Ming turned and said to the fried cake boss. What are you compensating for? Young man, what you just did is very satisfying. The fried cake boss quickly waved his hand. I just don't dare. If I weren't afraid of their revenge, I would have done it long ago. That's not very good. Yang Ming saw the sincerity of the owner of the fried cakes. Obviously, these people had been bullied by the people of the demolition company. What's wrong with that? By the way, young man, you like to eat fried cakes. I'll make some more for you. The one just now fell on the ground. The fried cake owner handed a bag of fried cakes to Yang Ming. By the way, you should leave quickly. If they come back later, you will be in trouble. Yang Ming had no choice but to accept the fried cake. However, Yang Ming wasn't afraid of the possible revenge. It was just that with Xia Shui around, Yang Ming couldn't beat these people to death according to his own ideas. That way, Xia Shui would definitely interfere. Originally, Yang Ming wanted to use this as an excuse to turn this demolition company upside down. At the very least, he wanted them to estimate the price of Lin Jiyun's house by 100 times. But now it seemed that he could only do it next time. He got in the car with Xia Shui and slowly left Shantytown. Yang Ming sent Xia Shui to the entrance of the police station, and then handed the fried cake in his hand to Xia Shui. Take it. It's the fried cake boss's intention. Humph, don't be proud. You're the only one who can be a hero. Xia Shui took the fried cake and said in a harsh tone, Yang Ming, don't always cause trouble. Some things can't be solved by violence. Can't you think about the people around you when you do things? If you go to prison because of intentional injury, how sad would Chen Mengyan and Lin Jiyun be? Aren't you sad? Yang Ming looked at Xia Shui's angry look and teased. Why would I be sad? It's just that the meal ticket is gone. Xia Shui snorted and turned to walk to the police station. But after a few steps, she turned back. No, I finally found the meal ticket. How can it be gone so easily? Yang Ming touched his chin. Am I really just a meal ticket? I really don't understand what Xia Shui is thinking. Yang Ming wasn't wrong. Brother Ma really didn't call the police. On the 30th floor of a luxury building in the southern part of Songjiang City, a slightly fat middle-aged man was sitting in the boss chair and flirting with a sexy female secretary. There was a knock on the door. The middle-aged man put down the female secretary in his arms and then motioned for her to open the door. He picked up a document on the table and looked at it. President Wei. The person who came in was the general manager's assistant, Zhou Xiaoming. Seeing that it was Zhou Xiaoming, the female secretary closed the door and sat back in the arms of the middle-aged man called President Wei. President Wei's name was Wei Dikang. He was the chairman and general manager of Dikang Real Estate Development Company, Limited. He was also a well-known figure in Songjiang's real estate industry. After many years of development, Dikang Real Estate had become the industry leader second only to Xinheng Real Estate. This time, with the development of the land in Shantytown, Wei Dikang immediately felt that his opportunity had come. The high-end residential area in the development zone next to Shantytown was developed by Xinheng Real Estate. It had now become a landmark building in Songjiang's wealthy district. Now, Shantytown and the development zone were only a few hundred meters apart. He believed that as long as he operated it properly, he could make a second development zone. Therefore, Wei Dikang particularly valued this opportunity. If the development was really successful, then the strength of his company would make a qualitative leap, and he would have the capital to compete with Xinheng Real Estate. Otherwise, in the past few years, he had been suppressed by Xinheng Real Estate, which made Wei Dikang very uncomfortable. What's the matter? Wei Dikang raised his head and looked at his confidant, Zhou Xiaoming. President Wei, something happened to Madman Ma. Zhou Xiaoming said with a dignified expression. Madman Ma. What happened? When Wei Dikang heard that it was about Madman Ma, he suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. What could happen to Madman Ma? At most, he would beat up a person, so he asked, who did he beat up this time? President Wei, he didn't beat up others, but others beat him up. He was splashed with oil. His face is now burned, and he is lying in the First People's Hospital. Zhou Xiaoming said. What? Wei Dikang frowned and scolded in his heart. This Madman Ma would cause trouble for me at this juncture. I haven't figured out the demolition yet, and he was beaten up. However, after all, Wei Dikang had been in the top position for a long time. He had the necessary shrewdness. What exactly happened? This is the case. Madman Ma took his people to Shantytown to register the demolition. Zhou Xiaoming repeated the incident to Wei Dikang. Motherfucker. Wei Dikang couldn't help it anymore. He scolded fiercely. Is his brain flooded with water? Why did he provoke those diners? He deserved to be beaten up. It would be better if he was beaten to death. Wei Dikang was so angry. This guy, if he really fought with the residents of the demolition, it would be excusable, but why did you fight with a diner at a roadside stall? What does it have to do with you? President Wei, what should we do now? Madman Ma's underlings are thinking about revenge. You see. Zhou Xiaoming said to Wei Dikang. Let them take revenge, but don't make things big. Don't call the police, or else it will be troublesome if the news spreads. Wei Dikang said, those reporters can also say that we were beaten up because of violent demolition. It will be troublesome if it attracts attention. Yes, I got it. Zhou Xiaoming nodded. I will inform Madman Ma and tell them to be low-key if they want to do it. If anything happens, don't involve the company. And, that's what I mean. Wei Dikang said, this Madman Ma is really worrisome. Let's do this. Xiaoming, you will be in charge of the demolition company from today. Let Madman Ma recuperate. Okay, President Wei. Zhou Xiaoming was delighted. Demolition was a lucrative job. Madman Ma was originally Wei Dikang's driver, and he was also one of Wei Dikang's closer people. When Wei Dikang asked Madman Ma to be in charge of the demolition, Zhou Xiaoming was still a little uncomfortable. Now, this lucrative job finally fell on his head. In the ward of the city's First People's Hospital, Madman Ma's face was covered with gauze. Fortunately, the oil was not very hot, or he would probably be dead now. He already knew what President Wei meant. The power of the demolition company had fallen on Zhou Xiaoming. Madman Ma was unwilling, but there was no other way. He hated Yang Ming in his heart. He couldn't wait to tear him into pieces. Not only did Yang Ming disfigure him, but he also cut off his source of income. Brother Ma, this matter must not be forgotten. When we find that guy, let's kill him. Madman Ma's underlings said fiercely. They all followed Madman Ma for a living. Cutting off Madman Ma's source of income was equivalent to cutting off their source of income. Madman Ma also thought so in his heart, but now that he was like this, even if he wanted to retaliate, it would not be done in a short time. His face was covered with gauze, and it was difficult to talk. He couldn't even discuss something. Yang Ming sent the car back to Mingyang Heavy Industry and came to his uncle's office. He was about to tell him the good news, but he didn't expect his uncle to stand up first and say with a smile, Big Ming, you are still capable. I really can't imagine how you got the people from Songkuan Machinery. Yang Ming was a little surprised. Uncle, how did you know? I haven't told you yet, right? Haha, today's newspaper has been published. Songkuan Machinery announced bankruptcy yesterday afternoon. Yang Dashin laughed heartily. Big Ming, how did you do it? It's nothing, just to scare them. Yang Ming naturally couldn't say too much. Don't tell my dad about this. I don't want him to worry. Don't worry. I will keep it a secret for you. Yang Dashin was in a very good mood now. He didn't expect that the psychological problem that had troubled him for so long was so easily solved by Yang Ming. Chapter 909. After leaving Mingyang Heavy Industry, Yang Ming called Bao Sanli and planned to ask about the relocation of Shantytown. Brother Yang, what happened at the night dance bar last night? Was it you who did it? Bao Sanli picked up the phone and asked mysteriously. It was me. Yang Ming wouldn't deny it. He had already instructed Bao Sanli to find a way to get the property rights of the night dance bar. Brother Yang, I'm convinced. You are really amazing. You are actually so popular in the government. There was news this morning that the night dance bar was closed down by the police. Bao Sanli said admiringly. That wasn't me. Yesterday, I went to the night dance bar with Xia Shui. Yang Ming explained. Understood. Bao Sanli laughed a few times. Brother Yang, why are you looking for me so early in the morning? What's the matter? I want to ask you something. Do you know which real estate company developed the land in Shantytown? Asked Yang Ming. Shantytown. It seems to be decaying real estate. At that time, I was very optimistic about the land, but after all, real estate is not our current main business, so I didn't fight for it. Bao Sonli said, "What's wrong, Brother Yang? Is there a problem? Have you heard of a guy surnamed Ma and their company?" Yang Ming read the name of decaying real estate and remembered it in his heart. Ma. Brother Yang, are you talking about the idiot madman Ma? He is the driver of decaying real estate CEO Wei Decaying. He used to be in the underworld, and now he has a few henchmen under him. Bao Sonli thought about it and said, "This guy always wants to get close to us, but I don't care about him." "Okay, I got it. It is probably him." Yang Ming said, "Help me check the information of decaying real estate." "Okay, no problem. Brother Yang, you don't want to make a move on decaying real estate, right?" Bao Sonli thought. Every time Brother Yang asked him to investigate someone, that person would not have a good ending. This time was probably no exception. Don't make wild guesses. Yang Ming taught Bao Sonli a lesson. Otherwise, it wouldn't be good if this guy went out and talked nonsense. Yang Ming wasn't sure if he wanted to do decaying real estate, but he also wanted to do real estate. If he could step on the shoulders of decaying real estate, it would not be a bad thing. Of course, this depended on the attitude of decaying real estate. If they were stubborn and offended Lin Jian's family in the demolition work, then they shouldn't blame Yang Ming for being impolite. "Yes, Brother Yang. Don't worry, I won't say anything." Bao Sonli was shocked. Recently, Yang Ming spoke to him more kindly. He was rarely so serious. The relationship between Bao Sonli and Yang Ming had also become harmonious. However, Yang Ming's words reminded Bao Sonli that Yang Ming was still his boss. "You don't have to be too nervous. I don't mean to blame you. I just want to remind you." When Yang Ming saw Bao Sonli like this, he quickly comforted him. "Right, how is the car? I have already talked to the 4S store in Automobile City. As long as there is a car, it is ours." Bao Sonli still had this ability. Who would want to offend a person like Bao Sonli? What's more, it wasn't that Bao Sonli didn't want to pay for the car. It wasn't difficult for the 4S store owner to help him negotiate with the manufacturer to get the car as soon as possible. Only a fool wouldn't do such a favor. "Okay, then I will leave it to you." Yang Ming hung up the phone and drove the BMW X5 that he had just replaced to his home. Finally, there was a day of free time. Yang Ming decided to go home to take a shower first, and then he would meet with Chen Mengyan. After all, after he returned to Songjiang, he had seen Lin Jiyun, but he hadn't seen Chen Mengyan yet. If he let this little girl hold on to these little things, then it would be enough for him to suffer. "Mengyan, I am back in Songjiang. Will I find you later?" On the way home, Yang Ming called Chen Mengyan. "Ah. Yang Ming. My junior high school classmate is at my house. I thought you couldn't come back today. You promised my classmate to attend the junior high school reunion." When Chen Mengyan heard Yang Ming's voice, she immediately said apologetically, "Class reunion." Yang Ming smiled and said, "Then let's forget about it today. You have fun. I will call you when you get home." "And, okay, I have nothing to do tomorrow. Let's go out together," Chen Mengyan said. "Okay, when you come back in the evening, let's discuss it again." Yang Ming wouldn't interfere with Chen Mengyan's private life. Who didn't have junior high school classmates? He had just participated in the junior high school reunion a while ago. "Mengyan, who is it? Is it brother-in-law? Come on, give me the phone. I will talk to him." On the other side of the phone, there was a girl's voice. "Lu Ting, don't make trouble. Chen Mengyan blushed and said to her junior high school best friend, then she said to Yang Ming, I'm sorry. My junior high school best friend, Lu Ting, is like this. It doesn't matter. You guys have fun. Yang Ming certainly wouldn't care about this and said with a smile. Meng Yan, there must be a lot of people who bring their other halves to the class reunion. You should ask your husband to come too. It will be fun to play together. My partner will go with us. Lu Ting smiled and grabbed the phone in Chen Mingyan's hand. Hey, handsome brother-in-law, I'm Mingyan's third sister. Come and play together. Yang Ming listened to Lu Ting's words. He was a little dumbfounded. Lu Ting, thank you for your invitation. I won't go. You guys go and play. Have fun. Why? You don't give me face. When we were in junior high school, I had the best relationship with Meng Yan among the four sisters. You ask your Meng Yan. When she had her period for the first time in the physical education class, I gave her the sanitary pad. Otherwise, she would be embarrassed. I helped your Meng Yan so much. You still don't give me face. Isn't this too unkind? Lu Ting screamed into the phone. Yang Ming broke into a sweat. Isn't this Lu Ting too fierce? How can she say this kind of thing? Chen Mengyan listened to Lu Ting's words. Her face suddenly turned red like a big fireball. She stared at Lu Ting. Lu Ting, why do you say everything? I'm talking to your husband, not to others. Lu Ting said disapprovingly, this isn't a shameful thing. Who doesn't have their first period? Yang Ming, a super thick-skinned guy, couldn't help but feel a little ashamed at this moment. This Lu Ting is really a character. I can't help but admire her. Yang Ming held the phone awkwardly. He didn't know whether to hang up or continue to listen. He was really in a dilemma. How about it, handsome brother-in-law? Just tell me if you want to give me face or not. Based on my relationship with your Meng Yan, I will ask you a question. Are you coming or not? Lu Ting asked. Yang Ming regretted it in his heart. If he knew this, he wouldn't have made this call. He could have used his X-ray vision to see the situation on Chen Mingyan's side first. Now he was in a dilemma. He was being questioned there, and he didn't know how to answer. Just as Yang Ming hesitated, the voice on the phone changed to Chen Mingyan's voice. Yang Ming, my third sister is so straightforward. Don't mind it. Why don't you come too? And, that's fine. I will go to your house in a while. I will go home to take a shower and change my clothes. Since Chen Mengyan spoke, Yang Ming naturally agreed. That's good. Don't worry. The class reunion will start at noon. Chen Mengyan said. After hanging up the phone, Lu Ting laughed. Ha ha ha, I didn't expect this. Brother-in-law is a henpecked husband. That one sentence of yours is more effective than 10 of mine. It's not like that. Don't talk nonsense. Chen Mingyan's face was red, but she was still very sweet in her heart. Which girl didn't want others to envy her boyfriend who was nice to her and listened to her words? Hee hee, in a while, I want to see what kind of man can get the campus belle of our school. Lu Ting laughed. Chen Mengyan was very helpless, but Lu Ting was such a character. She had long been used to it. Right, today is the class reunion. Is big sister going too? Chen Mengyan hesitated and finally asked. Her. Don't mention her in front of me. Lu Ting's face sank, and her face immediately showed an angry expression. It has been so long. Second sister has already said to forget about it. Third sister, why are you still so upset? Chen Mengyan sighed and said. No one does things like her. Lu Ting said, who knows if she will go or not. I haven't contacted her for several years. Chen Mengyan shook her head. Seeing that Lu Ting was still upset about her big sister's matter, she no longer said anything. When Chen Mengyan was in junior high school, she, Lu Ting, and the other two girls had the best relationship. They were like sisters. Therefore, the four people according to age were the eldest sister, Ho Qianqian, the second sister, Zhang Jiayu, the third sister, Lu Ting, and the little sister, Chen Mengyan. Chen Mengyan belonged to the type that matured late. At first, she didn't understand why her big sister and second sister would have a conflict, so that they couldn't stand each other in the end. After entering high school, she gradually understood that it was because of a man. Her big sister stole her second sister's boyfriend, so the two of them had such deep hatred. However, even if she understood it before, Chen Mengyan still didn't understand. Did two good sisters become like this because of an outsider? When she was with Yang Ming and experienced Lan Ling's incident, she understood that love could make people so crazy. After entering high school, she lost contact with her big sister, Ho Qianqian. Her second sister also became depressed because of the incident. Although she told Chen Mengyan and Lu Ting that she had forgiven her big sister, Ho Qianqian, in her heart, she finally chose to escape and went to study abroad. She hadn't seen her for many years. Right, Lu Ting, I was disturbed by the phone call. You haven't told me yet. When did you have a boyfriend? Why didn't you tell me? Chen Mengyan changed the topic. Chapter 9-10. You dead girl, you still have the face to ask me. Lu Ting said very fiercely, when did you have a boyfriend? Why didn't you tell me? Why should I tell you? Chen Mengyan was speechless by Lu Ting. She was indeed embarrassed to tell Lu Ting that she had a boyfriend. Although the two often talked on the phone, they mostly talked about each other's recent situation. It didn't involve feelings. I didn't tell you because I thought that among the sisters, you developed the latest, so you should be the last to mature. How could I expect you to have a boyfriend in your first year of college? Maybe you were together when you were in high school. Lu Ting stared at Chen Mengyan's face and said jokingly. Chen Mengyan was suddenly blushed by Lu Ting's words. She thought of the time in the movie theater in high school when she helped Yang Ming. The two of them could be considered to be together. Therefore, Lu Ting was right. Chen Mengyan was not a person who was good at lying. At this moment, she was embarrassed. Why? Did I really get it right? Lu Ting saw Chen Mengyan's appearance and was suddenly stunned. It was originally a joke, but she didn't expect Chen Mengyan's shy expression to betray her. No. We only confirmed our relationship after we went to college. Chen Mengyan found an excuse for her puppy love. That is to say, it was very ambiguous before. Lu Ting laughed. No, our relationship is very pure. Chen Mengyan was embarrassed. What ambiguity? We just have a good relationship. It's very pure and ambiguous. I understand. Lu Ting still couldn't help but laugh. It's very pure and ambiguous. So what? Chen Mengyan was anxious by Lu Ting's words. She simply didn't care. So what if I fell in love early? So what? Lu Ting widened her eyes. I didn't say anything. Okay, third sister, you tricked me. When Chen Mengyan saw Lu Ting's expression, she knew that she was tricked. She was so angry that she wanted to hit Lu Ting. All right, stop messing around. Seeing that Chen Mengyan was anxious, Lu Ting hurriedly comforted her with a smile. Third sister is just joking with you. When third sister's boyfriend comes, I will introduce him to you. Okay, then I want to see if he is worthy of third sister. Chen Mengyan nodded and said. My boyfriend is just an ordinary person. He's not very handsome. But then again, your third sister isn't very beautiful either. As long as you treat me well, that's enough. I don't have any other requests. Lu Ting smiled and said, as for me, I have to carefully examine your boyfriend in a while. I want to see what's so good about him that he can pursue our little princess. Meng Yan, I have to say this. If he is too ordinary, don't blame third sister for not giving him a good face. He is very outstanding. He is my university classmate. Chen Mengyan naturally felt that Yang Ming was the best. However, she couldn't tell Lu Ting that Yang Ming had become particularly outstanding recently, right? She couldn't tell her that Yang Ming was a fighting king before. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It's useless for you to say it yourself. Third sister will show you later. If he is too weak, then don't blame third sister for not speaking nicely. Lu Ting's character was very straightforward. Yang Ming didn't want to participate in Chen Mingyan's junior high school reunion. When the two of them were together, it was better to leave some free space for each other. However, since Chen Mengyan asked him to go, and her good friend was also there, if he didn't go, then Chen Mengyan would lose face. Yang Ming first drove back to take a shower. This time, the security guard recognized Yang Ming and also recognized Yang Ming's car. The license plate number was also conspicuous. Song B88B88, which looked like 6 8s from a distance. Yang Ming didn't have this license plate before he went to Macau. Bao Somli only hung it after he returned to Songjiang. At the beginning, this car had always been a temporary license plate. Now, the deadline for the new car was almost up. Bao Somli spent some money and bought such a license plate at the auction for Yang Ming to hang. Yang Ming felt that this license plate was a bit flamboyant, but he also knew that Bao Somli had good intentions. He originally wanted to flatter him, so Yang Ming didn't say anything. Since it was hung, then let it be hung. When there was a chance to change a car in the future, this car would be given to Ming Yang Heavy Industry. It would be driven in the company to pick up important guests back and forth. A badass license plate could also show the strength of the company. He went home and took a shower. When he was putting on his clothes, Yang Ming hesitated. Since he was attending Chen Mingyan's class reunion, he couldn't dress too casually. However, he couldn't dress too formally either. After all, this was an informal friendship gathering, not a company banquet. Therefore, in the end, Yang Ming decided to wear a very casual sports jacket to make himself look more like a lively college student. If he wore a suit or something like that on this occasion, it was very likely that people would think that he was acting cool. After taking a shower, Yang Ming went downstairs refreshingly and drove in the direction of Chen Mingyan's home. However, halfway through the drive, he felt that Chen Mingyan's good friend was also there. He should be gentler and let Chen Mengyan earn enough face. Generally, girls were more concerned about face. No matter what he did behind the scenes, he had to be gentle and considerate in front of others. Yang Ming was still very clear about this. Otherwise, if he really made little Princess Chen unhappy, he wouldn't be able to get into her bed in the future. Therefore, when Yang Ming passed by the flower shop, he stopped the car at the door of the flower shop. This flower shop was the one where Yang Ming ordered flowers for Sun Jia last time. When Yang Ming entered, the service lady recognized Yang Ming. "Sir, you are here again." Yang Ming nodded. He thought that this service lady's memory was quite good. She could even remember this. "Sir, are you here to buy flowers this time or to renew the flower delivery service?" The service lady saw that Yang Ming didn't speak, so she asked. In fact, Yang Ming was looking at the roses on the flower rack at the moment. He was thinking about how many flowers he should buy for Chen Mengyan. Yang Ming didn't buy flowers much, so he wasn't very clear about the meaning of the number of flowers. Buying flowers, roses. If I want to give it to my girlfriend, how many flowers are suitable? Asked Yang Ming. This is generally 11 or 99 flowers. It is more popular. The service lady explained with a smile. What do 11 and 99 flowers mean? Asked Yang Ming. 11 flowers represent the most love. I only care about you, and 99 flowers represent the wish for our love to last forever. The service lady explained. I only care about you. Yang Ming smiled bitterly. Even if I say so, Chen Mengyan can't believe it. Isn't that pure nonsense? Not only will it not have the effect of pleasing her, but she might even be angry with me. As for the explanation of 99 flowers, it is not bad. Lasting forever. Isn't this what Yang Ming wants? So Yang Ming said, then 99 flowers. Wrap it for me. Okay, sir, no problem. Please wait a moment. After the service lady finished, she was busy wrapping the roses for Yang Ming. She did the same thing every day, so the service lady skillfully wrapped the roses and handed it to Yang Ming. When Yang Ming went to pay, he thought about it and said, continue the flower delivery service I ordered last time. Pay the money together. Okay. The service lady nodded and said, right, the flower delivery service ordered by the gentleman who was with you last time is about to expire. Can you help us inform him? Oh. Yang Ming remembered that Li Yishuan also sent flowers to Wang Xiaoyan. He hesitated. Since the two people knew each other, he should pay the money together. So, he said, how much is it? I will pay together. Okay, sir. Let me calculate. The service lady said, right, the content of the card is almost used up. You see, oh, there is no need for a card. Just send the flowers directly. Yang Ming felt that with his current relationship with Sun Jia, there was no need to write a card. After paying the money, Yang Ming held the 99 roses and rushed to Chen Mingyan's home. When he passed by the car wash, Yang Ming felt that the car was a bit dirty, so he washed it again. On the way, he received a call from Chen Mengyan. Yang Ming, are you coming? I am already on the way. What's wrong? Are you in a hurry? Chapter 9:11. It was just that this nickname sounded a bit like cockroach. Chen Mengyan unconsciously associated it with a type of insect, an insect with a strong vitality. Xiao Chang, let me tell you. My relationship with Mengyan is top-notch. If she is not satisfied with you, we will break up immediately. Lu Ting threatened Lu Baoqiang. Ah. Lu Baoqiang was stunned, then he looked at Chen Mengyan pitifully. The relationship between him and Lu Ting was still very deep. He was afraid that Lu Ting would dump him. In school, there were many boys who pursued Lu Ting. Lu Ting was also considered a beauty in the department. Of course, it depended on who she was compared to. There was naturally a gap between her and Chen Mengyan, but in the university where Lu Baoqiang studied, it was not an exaggeration to say that Lu Ting was the department flower. Moreover, recently, there were two young masters who pursued Lu Ting. Their conditions were much better than Lu Baoqiang's. Lu Baoqiang was afraid that Lu Ting couldn't resist the temptation of sugar-coated bullets and broke up with him. I think brother-in-law is very good. Third sister, you will have a good life in the future. When Chen Mengyan saw Lu Baoqiang's begging look, she felt a little funny and a little unbearable. She didn't want to embarrass him anymore, so she said a few good words to make Lu Baoqiang very happy. Since Mengyan said that you are good, then I will observe you for a while. When I will promote you will depend on my mood. Lu Ting glanced at Lu Baoqiang and said. Lu Baoqiang breathed a sigh of relief and looked at Qin Mengyan gratefully. It was reasonable to say that Lu Baoqiang's family was also good. His father was a middle-level leader in a company, and his mother opened a hot pot restaurant. The conditions in his family were very good. He also had a Santana 2000, and he was also a figure who was more popular in school with gold diggers. However, among the people who pursued Lu Ting, there were two who were better than him. Their families were richer than him, and the cars they drove were BMW 3 Series and Honda Accord. However, perhaps because he was more honest and didn't have the habits of those young masters, Lu Ting chose him. Therefore, Lu Baoqiang was still very fortunate. It's cold outside. Do you want to wait in the car for a while? Lu Baoqiang also knew that Lu Ting and Qin Mengyan were waiting for the arrival of Qin Mengyan's boyfriend. However, it was winter now. After standing for a while, her hands and feet would be cold. Lu Baoqiang was afraid that Lu Ting would catch a cold. All right. Lu Ting nodded and pulled Qin Mengyan to sit in the back seat of Lu Baoqiang's car. In the car, Lu Baoqiang turned on the air conditioner. Then, he took a bouquet of roses from the front passenger seat and handed it to Lu Ting. Ting Ting, this is for you. Although Lu Ting said something about the probation period, her heart basically recognized Lu Baoqiang as a person. Otherwise, if she didn't like him, how could she still be with him for so long? At this time, Lu Baoqiang gave her flowers in front of Qin Mengyan. Lu Ting was very happy. She took the roses and put them on her lap. She said, "What a waste of money. If I really follow you for a lifetime, my family property will be squandered by you." When Lu Ting said that she wanted to spend a lifetime with him, Lu Baoqiang immediately grinned happily. "Third sister, how much is a bouquet of flowers? How can it be possible to squander the family property? The brother-in-law is romantic, but you are not satisfied." Qin Mengyan said with a smile, but she was a little envious in her heart. "I don't know what will happen when Yang Ming comes later." There was no doubt that Yang Ming was a very strong male chauvinist. Otherwise, she wouldn't be willing to compromise and share her lover with other girls. Yang Ming bought flowers for me, but it was only occasionally. Girls liked romance. Although they knew that flowers were useless, they were very happy to hold them in their arms. Didn't Lu Ting think so in her heart? She just didn't want to make Lu Baoqiang proud. Right, Mengyan, does your boyfriend also have a car? Lu Ting didn't mean to show off that her Lu Baoqiang had a car, but it was out of consideration for Qin Mengyan's happiness. Although looking for a boyfriend wasn't looking for money, at least she had to consider the overall index. If he was too poor, even if there was love, she wouldn't be too happy. This was the woman's creed that Lu Ting had always believed in. However, fortunately, she found a man with a relatively high overall index like Lu Baoqiang. Not only did he not have the playboy habits of those rich children, but he was also very good to her. Yes. Qin Mengyan nodded, but she didn't know why Lu Ting asked this. What's wrong? Nothing. I just think that Mengyan, you should find a boyfriend with a relatively high overall index. At least, it should be higher than mine. Otherwise, I feel sorry for you. Lu Ting said. Qin Mengyan smiled. Third sister, how can I be as good as you say? You make it seem like I'm so unattainable. That's true. Our little princess was a heartthrob in the past. Lu Ting said in high spirits, did you forget that Li Yixuan and Hong Kai from our class were both your pursuers back then? Qin Mengyan's face suddenly blushed. Third sister, don't talk nonsense. How can I not remember? As they were talking, Yang Ming's car drove into Qin Mengyan's home community. It passed by Lu Baoqiang's Santana and stopped by the flower bed not far in front. I'm fainting. Mengyan, there is such a badass person in your community. Isn't this license plate too ruthless? Lu Ting accidentally saw the license plate of the BMW X5 in front and couldn't help but sigh. Chen Mengyan was stunned. She just saw the BMW X5 pass by and subconsciously thought that it was Yang Ming's car. But when she heard Lu Ting mention the license plate, she paid attention to it, but she wasn't sure. Yang Ming's car had a temporary license plate. There was no sign. But it didn't take long for Chen Mengyan's phone to ring. Looking at the caller ID, it was Yang Ming. Yang Ming. Where are you? Chen Mengyan picked up the phone and asked. I'm downstairs at your house. I don't see you. Yang Ming couldn't use his special ability for everything. That would create dependence. Is the BMW downstairs yours? Chen Mengyan asked with some doubts. It's mine. Are you there? Replied Yang Ming. We are in the car behind you. Chen Mengyan sweated a bit. She didn't expect the badass person in Lu Ting's mouth to be Yang Ming. She was a little annoyed. Why didn't he tell me that the car had a license plate? When Lu Ting asked me, I didn't speak. Would she think that I was deliberately acting like a big shot? After Chen Mengyan hung up the phone, she saw Yang Ming holding a bouquet of roses as he got out of the BMW in front and walked towards her. Seeing the flowers in Yang Ming's hand, Chen Mengyan's heart was suddenly happy. The unhappiness that she originally planned to scold Yang Ming disappeared. However, after opening the car door, Chen Mengyan still frowned and asked, when did you hang this license plate on your car? Then why are you showing it off? Yang Ming was stunned and then smiled bitterly. Did he want to show it off? But Bao Sanli had already hung the license plate. He couldn't take it off, right? Didn't I go out a few days ago? The car was with a friend. He had bad luck and dropped the license plate for me. Yang Ming pretended to be pitiful in front of Chen Mengyan, so Bao Sanli became the scapegoat. Chen Mengyan was stunned, and then she didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This license plate probably took a lot of effort. You don't have to say that about your friend. Lu Ting originally knew that Chen Mengyan was not a person who liked to show off, so when Chen Mengyan didn't say anything after seeing the cow license plate, she didn't think that Chen Mengyan was deliberately acting like a big shot or anything. Now that she saw Chen Mengyan scolding Yang Ming because of this license plate, and Yang Ming's innocent look with flowers, it was very funny. However, Lu Ting was a little curious. What is the identity of Chen Mengyan's boyfriend? He drives a BMW 5 Series off-road. His friend helped him with a very bad license plate, but he still said that he had bad luck. From this point, it could be seen that Chen Mengyan's boyfriend was not very interested in this license plate, and he didn't think there was anything good about this license plate. In other words, he basically didn't need this kind of license plate to prove his identity. However, Chen Mengyan was actually angry because of this. Lu Ting shook her head. Chapter 9:12. At this time, Lu Baoqiang also got out of the car. The shock that Yang Ming gave him was still relatively big. He was still worried that he would be looked down upon by dealing with this kind of young master. However, when he heard Yang Ming's easygoing words and the way he was scolded by Chen Mengyan, Lu Baoqiang was somewhat amused. It turns out that this buddy is also a henpecked husband. How could he know that Yang Ming was very good to Chen Mengyan, but he wasn't a henpecked husband? Being good to a girl and being henpecked husband were two completely different concepts. This is Lu Baoqiang, my boyfriend. Lu Ting saw Lu Baoqiang get out of the car, so she pointed to Lu Baoqiang and said, Lu Baoqiang, just call me Xiao Chang. Lu Baoqiang still used the self-introduction method. Xiao Chang. After Yang Ming heard this fierce name, he was stunned. My name is Yang Ming, but not Xiao Ming. You can call me Xiao Chang, ha. It's okay. If you want to laugh, just laugh. My name is indeed the same as the legendary Xiao Chang. Lu Baoqiang smiled very indifferently. Nice to meet you. Are we going to your class reunion now? Yang Ming didn't know the schedule, so he asked. It's still early. It's only 9 o'clock. The reunion will start in the afternoon. Chen Mengyan looked at the time on the phone and said, why don't we all go to my house and sit for a while? It was fine for Yang Ming to go to Chen Mengyan's house, but Lu Baoqiang was somewhat embarrassed. He and Chen Mengyan just met, and they weren't very familiar with each other, so it was naturally inappropriate to go to her house. Not to mention that Chen Mengyan was a girl, so he couldn't be thick-skinned. Lu Ting naturally knew Lu Baoqiang's thoughts, so she said, Mengyan, you haven't eaten in the morning, right? It just so happens that we haven't eaten yet. The class reunion can only be eaten at 2 o'clock at the earliest. I think we should find a place to eat something. Just in time. Let's go to my family's hot pot restaurant. I'll be the host. Lu Baoqiang had to follow Lu Ting's intention. I'm going to your house. If you don't treat me, should I? Lu Ting rolled her eyes at Lu Baoqiang. Isn't it the same as you being the host if I treat you? Ha! Lu Baoqiang laughed heartily. All right, then I'll have to trouble your family. Chen Mengyan nodded at Lu Baoqiang. What's there to disturb? I'm the young master, so won't those waiters be obedient? Lu Baoqiang said half-jokingly. Come on, you have the nerve to call yourself the young master. Yang Ming is so ruthless, but he is much more low-key than you. Lu Ting pushed Lu Baoqiang. Chen Mengyan thought to herself, is Yang Ming keeping a low profile? That depends on what the matter is. This guy, when he meets someone he hates, he will beat them up if he doesn't agree with a word. Returning to their own cars, Yang Ming followed behind Lu Baoqiang Santana. This was the young master's car. Naturally, when it was driven into the parking lot, the security guards smiled and helped to park it. As for Yang Ming's car, the security guards in charge were even more enthusiastic. However, when Yang Ming and Chen Mengyan got off the car and walked into the hot pot restaurant with Lu Baoqiang and the others, the security guards were stunned. Who are the friends that the young master brought today? Why are they so badass? Most of the temporary license plate number on the BMW was remembered by some people in Songjiang. They knew that it was Bao Sonli's license plate, but not many people knew about this new license plate. It was just that the number was badass, so people subconsciously thought that the owner of the car was not ordinary. Yang Ming, Mengyan, come here and treat it like your own home. Lu Ting walked in front and said, isn't that right, Xiao Chang? That's right, that's right. Lu Baoqiang nodded quickly. Let's go. Let's go to the private room upstairs. After that, Lu Baoqiang waved his hand and found the hotel lobby manager. Young Master Lu, you are here. The lobby manager naturally knew Lu Baoqiang, the young master of the general manager, and said politely. Sister Wang, help us find a quiet private room. Lu Baoqiang didn't have any arrogance. The lobby manager was older, so he called her Sister Wang affectionately. He wasn't like some second-generation masters who ordered the workers in the family business. Young Master Lu, it's almost time for dinner. The private rooms have been booked. Sister Wang said with some difficulty. Ah, it's all booked. Lu Baoqiang was stunned and suddenly didn't know what to do. If he and Lu Ting came alone, it didn't matter. They could just sit in the hall and eat. But today, he came with new friends. If they sat in the hall, would Lu Ting feel embarrassed? Lu Baoqiang couldn't make up his mind, so he turned his head and looked at Lu Ting. He wanted her to make an idea. Lu Ting wasn't a person who cared about face, but when she went to the hotel of her boyfriend's family, there wasn't even a private room. She really couldn't accept it. So Lu Ting hesitated and asked, "Are there no guests who don't come after booking?" "Not yet." Sister Wang shook her head and suddenly said, "Right, there is a big private room upstairs. The people who booked it said that there were only 6 people, but there is an empty table next to it. How about I use a screen to separate it, and you can sit next to it?" When Lu Baoqiang heard it, he felt that this was the most appropriate way at the moment, so he nodded and said, "Then let's do that." Sister Wang responded and went upstairs to take care of it. Lu Baoqiang apologized to Yang Ming and Chen Mengyan, "I'm sorry. I didn't think that there wasn't a private room. What's wrong with that? This shows that your family's hot pot is delicious, and the guests are full." Yang Ming smiled and said, "If it really doesn't work, it's the same to eat in the hall." When Lu Baoqiang saw that Yang Ming didn't have the temper of a rich person, he couldn't help but have a good impression of him. He said gratefully, "Another day. I will book a private room in advance, and then I will treat you to a big meal. Today is just to fill your stomach first. I still have to go to the class reunion later." Not long after, Sister Wang took care of it. She led Lu Baoqiang and Yang Ming to the private room upstairs. This was a big private room with 2 tables. At the moment, there was a screen separating the 2 tables from the middle. Yang Ming and the others sat at the table closer to the inside. Since they came to Lu Baoqiang's territory, the right to order was handed over to him. However, he was the young master here. He definitely knew what was delicious here. Lu Baoqiang didn't know everyone's appetite. He tried to pick some popular and more delicious things and ordered a table of them. Zhou Xiaoming had just taken the position of the manager of the demolition company. He was very refreshed in his heart. This was a place with a lot of benefits. It was really worth celebrating. Therefore, Zhou Xiaoming took a few of his confidants today and came to Baoshan's spicy hot pot on Xinhe Road in the Nanqing district. The spicy hot pot here was very special. Zhou Xiaoming and Wei Dikang had come here once before. They felt that it was good. Today, they invited a few confidants here. Previously, they made a phone call to book a private room. They said that there was no small private room, only a big private room, but the minimum cost was 500 yuan. However, Zhou Xiaoming didn't care and booked it directly. Zhou Xiaoming glared at him and said, "You don't want to give it to me. If you don't give it to them, they'll sue you." Money had to be given. They could give less and pay according to the lowest standard, but they couldn't not give. They were in the right no matter what, and they wouldn't be able to do anything. "If you don't pay, wouldn't you be the same as that idiot madman Ma?" "That's right. Brother Zhou is so thoughtful, unlike that idiot madman Ma." Zheng Luzi pulled Niu Xiaobo and said quickly. This Niu Xiaobo spoke without thinking. How could he make Brother Zhou unhappy at this time? That's right, that's right. Otherwise, why would he be called Brother Zhou? Brother Zhou, Brother Zhou, Brother Zhou. Niu Xiaobo hurriedly nodded in agreement. Zhou Xiaoming listened to Niu Xiaobo's flattery and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. However, this guy was quite interesting, and he was a good fighter. The most important thing was that he listened to Zhou Xiaoming. Zhou Xiaoming parked the car in the parking lot of Bao Shun Hot Pot, and then entered the hot pot restaurant with his 2 underlings and 3 lovers. "Hello, welcome. Do the 6 of you have an appointment?" The waiter saw Zhou Xiaoming and his group come in and asked enthusiastically. "Room 208, I called before." Zhou Xiaoming said. "Okay, sir, please come with me." The waiter nodded and took Zhou Xiaoming and his group upstairs. They came to the large private room upstairs, which was the private room where Yang Ming and others were. "Sir, madam, please come in." The waiter opened the door and said to Zhou Xiaoming. Zhou Xiaoming entered the room and saw the screen in the middle at a glance. However, he didn't know that there were people on the other side of the screen, so he asked curiously, "What's the matter with the screen in the middle? How much is it blocking the light? Why don't you put it away?" The waiter had been instructed by the lobby manager before, so he said, "I'm sorry, sir. This is a large private room. It can sit 2 tables of guests. There are other guests over there." "What did you say? There are other people in this private room?" Zhou Xiaoming was stunned, and then his face sank. "What's wrong with your hotel? How can a private room sit 2 tables of guests?" "Sir, you only have 6 people. You don't need 2 tables. The other guests haven't had a place to eat yet." The waiter explained. "Didn't you say that the minimum cost of a large private room is 500? It's not that we can't afford this money. Why? Are you looking down on us?" Niu Xiaobo was suddenly unhappy. "Of course, we didn't mean that." The waiter saw that these 3 people were very angry and suddenly lowered his head in fear. "Hurry up. Call your manager and tell him what this means." Niu Xiaobo said arrogantly. "Sir, our manager isn't in the store now." The waiter said in a dilemma. "Fuck. Do you believe that I will smash your store?" Niu Xiaobo threatened with a glare. "What's the matter?" Lu Ting also heard the quarrel of the guests who came in later and whispered to Lu Baoqiang. "We have encountered a difficult guest." Lu Baoqiang was also a little embarrassed. He thought that when the guests in the original private room came, he should be able to make an exception. However, he didn't expect the other party to be so rude. "Why don't we go to the hall downstairs to eat?" "It doesn't matter." Yang Ming didn't want to put Lu Baoqiang in a difficult position, so he suggested. After all, the door was open to do business. The customer was God. How can that be? Lu Baoqiang's worst-case scenario in his heart was also like this, but he was a little neglectful of Yang Ming. What is there to be embarrassed about? We are all family. Isn't it the same where we eat? Yang Ming said with a smile, "Meng Yan and I don't care." Lu Ting, what about you? Of course, Lu Ting didn't care. When she heard Yang Ming say this, she was grateful in her heart. She nodded and said, "Since you have said so, what else can I do?" So, Lu Baoqiang stood up and wanted to tell the waiter that they would go down to eat, but before he moved, he heard a few words from the other side. Yang Ming's heart suddenly moved, and he quickly stopped Lu Baoqiang. "Baoqiang, you wait a minute." On the other side of the screen, Zhou Xiaoming suddenly thought of the conflict between Madman Ma and the people this morning. His heart was immediately startled. His previously complacent state of mind, which had somewhat forgotten himself, suddenly became clear. Madman Ma, didn't he also get into the hospital because of a conflict with an unknown diner? And now, I can't lose the big picture because of a small matter. As Zhou Xiaoming thought of this, he grabbed Niu Xiaobo, who wanted to continue to be arrogant. "Xiaoniu, don't make trouble. Don't you remember how Madman Ma got into the hospital?" Niu Xiaobo was stunned. No matter how stupid he was, he understood Zhou Xiaoming's meaning and quickly closed his mouth. Now is a special time. Don't create new problems. Zhou Xiaoming said to Niu Xiaobo and Jing Luzi, "Both of you have to remember that this opportunity to demolish Shanty Town is not easy to come by. If Madman Ma didn't get into the hospital, how can we get our turn?" It was precisely because of Zhou Xiaoming's words that Yang Ming's idea was brought up. Madman Ma. Shanty Town demolition. Could this guy be the new person appointed by Dekang Real Estate as the person in charge of the demolition after Madman Ma? Yang Ming had a bad impression of this Dekang Real Estate. After listening to Zhou Xiaoming's words, he was even more disgusted. However, at this moment, he didn't want to find trouble with this Zhou Xiaoming, because there was no need for that. However, Yang Ming had the intention to let go of this Zhou Xiaoming, but Zhou Xiaoming didn't want Yang Ming to let him go. Zhou Xiaoming continued to say, Xing Luzi, you go and talk to the guests over there. Let them eat in the hall downstairs. I will treat them. Brother Zhou, are we spending money? What a loss. Xing Luzi muttered with some reluctance. Damn, you are so distressed for such a small amount of money. When the time comes, we can deduct a little from each of the demolition households. Wouldn't we have everything? Idiot. Zhou Xiaoming scolded. That's true. Xing Luzi nodded quickly. Hearing this, Yang Ming couldn't help but have a surge of anger in his heart. Yang Ming wasn't a hero, and he couldn't care about all the injustices in the world. However, the demolition households involved the interests of Lin Jian's family. Therefore, Yang Ming was particularly concerned about the demolition of Shanty Town. When he heard that Zhou Xiaoming wanted to deduct the interests of the demolition households, he was furious. There was no need to let Lu Baoqiang say anything. Yang Ming already had the intention to teach this Zhou Xiaoming a lesson. Xing Luzi was instructed by Zhou Xiaoming, so he bypassed the screen and came to Yang Ming's table. He looked at Yang Ming and the others, and then looked at Chen Mengyan and Lu Ting. He was envious. Motherfucker, why don't I have such a beautiful woman by my side? Once the demolition fee was settled, he would definitely find a better one to dump his mistress. Our boss said that you should go downstairs to eat. Our boss will pay for your meal. Xing Luzi's words vaguely revealed a tone of superiority. In his opinion, if he didn't want to cause trouble, how could he treat these guys he didn't know to a meal? These two beauties were fine, but what did these two men have to do with them? Why don't you go downstairs to eat, and I will pay for you? Lu Baoqiang already felt that he had lost face. As the young master of the restaurant, he couldn't even treat his friends to a meal. Therefore, at this time, when he heard Xing Luzi's disdainful tone, he was even angrier. This restaurant was opened by his family. Did he still need others to pay for it? Fuck, what's wrong? Are you pretending to be badass with us? Xing Luzi was used to being a badass. If it weren't for Zhou Xiaoming's instructions, how could he treat people to a meal? But now, after being provoked by Lu Baoqiang, he immediately became a badass. You want to compete with me? All of you look like students. Do you think you can defeat me? At this time, Lu Baoqiang also called the waiter over. The two groups began to order. Give us 2 plates of shrimps. Yang Ming pointed to the 88 plates of shrimps on the menu. We want 3 plates. Zhou Xiaoming glanced at the menu and said casually. 2 more plates of scallops. Yang Ming flipped through the menu and continued. We want 3 plates. Zhou Xiaoming said without hesitation. Yang Ming ordered a few more dishes. Zhou Xiaoming ordered more than him. Yang Ming was amused. Don't you want more than me? That's fine. So he looked up at the waiter and said, give me 4 of the 800 yuan lobsters in your shop. Ah, lobster. The waiter was stunned. The most expensive lobster here is only 158 yuan. How can there be 800 yuan? However, since it was the young master's friend who said it, he wasn't sure. Could it be a new product? Yang Ming kicked Lu Baoqiang under the table. Lu Baoqiang wasn't stupid. He immediately understood, so he asked the waiter, do you have this? Do you? How would the waiter know? When Lu Baoqiang asked this, he also asked subconsciously. Why don't you have this? You can have this. Lu Baoqiang said. Oh, yes. The waiter heard that the young master said that he had it. What else was there? He directly ordered. What lobster? We also want 6. Zhou Xiaoming felt pain in his heart. Why is it so expensive? Is it from Antarctica? However, he couldn't show weakness, so he gritted his teeth and said. As for Lu Baoqiang's, you can have it. He didn't take it seriously. He didn't think that Lu Baoqiang was the young master of this hot pot restaurant. He thought that they deliberately learned from the TV show. Right, I heard that the big crabs arrived in Hokkaido this morning. Let's get one for each of us. Yang Ming resisted the urge to laugh and said in all seriousness. Hokkaido big crabs. The waiter repeated but looked at Lu Baoqiang. Lu Baoqiang's reaction was also quick. Is this available? I just saw it when I entered the door. It said that the big crabs in Hokkaido were on sale. 3,800. Oh, that means there are more. So the waiter wrote it down. For big crabs in Hokkaido. What is this? 3,800. Zhou Xiaoming thought, what kind of crab is this? Is it a crab spirit? Why is it so expensive? But when he saw that Yang Ming and the others wanted it, and he had just boasted, it was too shameful to admit defeat at this time, so he said, we want 6. That big crab in Hokkaido. This waiter was not a fool. He also saw the contradiction between Yang Ming and this side. This time, when he saw that Yang Ming and Lu Baoqiang repeatedly asked for some very expensive, high-end products that had never been sold in the store, he suddenly understood. They were deliberately playing with the rich guy in front of him. So he smiled and said, sorry, sir, there are only 4 big crabs left in Hokkaido. Because it is a promotion, the price is cheap, so it is sold out. This gentleman ordered it first, so we can only give the last 4 to them. What is this? How come it is not available? Zhou Xiaoming was annoyed, and he seemed to be at a disadvantage. How do you operate your restaurant? Can't you eat crabs when you want to? However, we still have Hawaiian big crabs here, but it is not a promotion, so the price. The waiter changed the topic. Okay, then Hawaiian. How could Zhou Xiaoming care so much at the moment? Naturally, he would not let go of the opportunity to regain his face. Hawaiian big crabs are 7,800. Do you also want 6? The waiter asked with a smile. Originally, when the waiter said that there were no big crabs in Hokkaido, Yang Ming and Lu Baoqiang were still a little puzzled. What happened to this waiter? At this moment, they understood what he meant. They couldn't help but secretly give a thumbs up. This waiter is good. He has a bright future. 7,800. Zhou Xiaoming felt that his heart was bleeding. What is this? How come it is 7,800? However, he was in a dilemma at the moment. Don't want it. Then, the previous momentum became a joke. Taking a deep breath, Zhou Xiaoming said, okay, then 6. Yang Ming looked at Zhou Xiaoming's clothes and knew that he couldn't be too rich, so he had been guessing Zhou Xiaoming's bottom line. Now, these crabs and lobsters added up to a few tens of thousands. It was estimated that it was enough for Zhou Xiaoming to drink a pot of money. Yang Ming just had to know when to stop. Otherwise, it wouldn't be nice to scare Zhou Xiaoming away. So, he pretended to sigh. I have asked for enough. I can't eat more. It seems that we are still a little inferior. Then, this private room can only be given away. Yang Ming pretended to stand up regretfully and pretended to be envious. He glanced at Zhou Xiaoming. Brother, you are rich. I have overestimated myself. Zhou Xiaoming was still distressed about the money he had just spent, but after being fooled by Yang Ming, he immediately felt comfortable. He didn't feel that the money was wronged. It was difficult to buy happiness with money. Anyway, in the demolition project in a few days, I will definitely get a lot of benefits. Zhou Xiaoming thought, this little expense is just a small expense. He looked at Yang Ming and said with some pride, you flatter me. You let me win. Ha! Let's go down. Yang Ming pretended to be very unwilling to stand up. He walked to the door of the private room with Lu Baoqiang and the others. However, he turned back halfway and said, right, waiter, if the boss can't eat in a while and wants to return the dishes, you have to call us up. That's right. Zhou Xiaoming was shocked. He was surprised that Yang Ming guessed his thoughts. Indeed, face was face, but it was so much money. How could he not be distressed? Therefore, Zhou Xiaoming thought about whether he should wait for Yang Ming and the others to leave, and then return the crabs or something with the appropriate reason of not being able to eat. However, he was blocked by Yang Ming's words. How is it possible that we can't eat? We don't have enough to eat. Zhou Xiaoming smiled and looked at Yang Ming. Out of the private room, the four people went to the stairs. They couldn't help it. They held the handrail of the stairs and laughed. Ha! I can't. Chen Mingyan's tears were about to come out. Yang Ming, why are you so bad? Do you have a grudge with others? Didn't you hear what they said? They want to deduct the money of the relocation households. This kind of rich but heartless person is the one who scammed them. Yang Ming smiled and said to Chen Mengyan. Chen Mengyan also agreed with Yang Ming's statement in her heart. She also heard the previous words. These people were really hateful. They deserved to lose some money. However, Lu Baoqiang, after laughing, said to Yang Ming, after they settle the bill, we will divide the money equally. It's all earned by your restaurant. How can I take it? Yang Ming waved his hand and smiled. The first time we cooperated, we had a tacit understanding. Chapter 9:15. Lu Baoqiang really felt at this moment that Yang Ming was really a good person. He didn't have any arrogance. He wasn't like the few in the department who started to squander when their family had a little capital, especially the guy named Wei Jin. His father was in a real estate company, and his family had saved hundreds of millions, so he acted like he was the best in the world. He just bought a BMW 328 a few days ago. He was so badass with a license plate ending with 123. The reason why Lu Baoqiang suddenly thought of Wei Jin was that this guy was one of Lu Ting's pursuers, and he was also Lu Ting's junior high school classmate. Therefore, Lu Baoqiang must follow Lu Ting to attend this junior high school reunion today. Well, I won't be unreasonable. Let's go out and play together some other day. I will treat. Lu Baoqiang also knew that Yang Ming definitely didn't care about this small amount of money, so he said quickly. No problem. You can't reject it when the time comes. Yang Ming smiled. Absolutely not. Lu Baoqiang patted his chest and promised, there is Lu Ting's supervision. Lu Ting was also very happy. She was very happy to see that Chen Mingyan's boyfriend was approachable and quickly established a friendship with Lu Baoqiang. The waiter came out of private room 208 and walked quickly to the stairs. When he saw that no one was following behind him, he ran to Lu Baoqiang and said, Young Master Lu, this lobster and Hawaiian crab, your performance just now was good. You have potential. Lu Baoqiang said happily, you are very witty. I will ask Sister Wang to train you. Then, you won't be a manager. It is a pity. The waiter was overjoyed. He didn't expect to get young Master Lu's favor after cooperating with young Master Lu to perform a play, so he quickly thanked, Thank you, young Master Lu. You don't have to thank me. If you weren't that kind of person, I wouldn't have promoted you. Lu Baoqiang waved his hand and smiled. Then you can tell the kitchen to grab 6 big lobsters from the lobsters that were shipped from Dalian for them. Just the one that is 158 lobsters will do. Then, the crab is the same. Just pick some big sea crabs for them. The waiter nodded and asked. You have a bright future. Lu Baoqiang smiled and said, just watch and see. Yang Ming didn't expect Lu Baoqiang to be such a clever person. He was as good as Yang Ming when it came to tricking others. In the blink of an eye, Lu Baoqiang had successfully faked the highest grade lobster and Hawaiian crab. Brother Zhou, is this a fucking scam? Why is it so expensive? Shang Luzi cursed. Whether it's black or not, we can only accept it. At this time, I don't want to cause trouble. Zhou Xiaoming was also very distressed, but what was the use of feeling distressed? That's right. If it were another time, I would have already punched him. Comparing money with our brother Zhou, he is simply overestimating himself. Niu Xiaobo also scolded very unhappily. Both of you, stop it for a moment. This is a hot pot restaurant. Of course, I am very rich. But if you are in heavenly earth, my money is really not enough to do anything. That's right, that's right. But heavenly earth is not for people like us. It is for people like President Wei. Shang Luzi nodded and said. You two don't have to be envious. After this demolition, I will take you to have some fun. Zhou Xiaoming said. Then thank you in advance, brother Zhou. Shang Luzi and Niu Xiaobo laughed lewdly. As for whether Zhou Xiaobo would pay by card or cash after the meal, it was not a matter of concern to Yang Ming. Dining in the hall downstairs was also very lively and had a different style. As for the lobsters, crabs, scallops and so on, they were all crossed out. The few people had already eaten a lot before. How could they eat more? Besides, they had to go to the class reunion later. It was impossible to fill their stomachs. The 4 people went out of the hot pot restaurant together. They couldn't help but laugh when they thought of what happened just now. However, Lu Baoqiang had tens of thousands of yuan in his account out of thin air, so he was in a good mood. Although the hot pot restaurant made money, it didn't make too much after all. A profit of a few thousand yuan a day was already amazing. As a result, they made a few days' worth of money today. It's still early now. I will treat everyone to something to drink. Lu Baoqiang looked at the time and said. That's fine. Right, where's your class reunion? Yang Ming said in agreement. At the Immortal Resort, quite far from here. Lu Ting said, Meng Yan and I have never been there, but Lu Baoqiang knows the way. Immortal Resort. Yang Ming was stunned. It can't be, right? It's this place again. My junior high school class reunion is in this place. It can't be. The last time our junior high school class reunion was there. Yang Ming looked at Chen Mengyan and said with a wry smile, the environment there is good, but I don't know who chose the place. Who else could it be? Isn't it that Wei Jin? Lu Ting said with annoyance. After that, she remembered that Yang Ming definitely didn't know Wei Jin, so she quickly explained, he was the previous suitor of our little Princess Chin. Yang Ming was speechless. Why do I feel that my love rivals are everywhere? However, Chen Mingyan's next sentence made Yang Ming relieved. How could that be? Now he is chasing Lu Ting very closely. Chen Mengyan said with a red face. She didn't want Yang Ming to misunderstand anything. Yang Ming nodded, but he didn't think much. He just smiled at Lu Baoqiang. You are under a lot of pressure. It's okay. I'm not afraid. Lu Baoqiang waved his fist and said seriously. Then why did he choose to go to the Immortal Resort? Isn't there a lot of places to go in the city? Chen Mengyan asked, baffled. The Immortal Resort seems to be opened by his uncle. I'm not too sure. Anyway, it's a relative of his family. Lu Ting explained, in fact, he just wants to show off how powerful his family is in front of his classmates. And how did he have a relative relationship with the owner of the Immortal Resort? Then this Wei Jin seems to be a relative of Sui Guangqi. He didn't expect that after going around in circles, the people around him had a lot of connections. For the Sui family, Yang Ming didn't have a good impression. However, even if he didn't have a good impression, he didn't have much hatred. He just didn't like that Zhou Ruoguang. Since the Sui family's industry and development direction were not in Songjiang, there was no opportunity to become enemies with Yang Ming. So until now, Yang Ming and them were still at peace. He hoped that this Wei Jin could be more well-behaved. Otherwise, if he provoked him, Yang Ming would not spoil him. Regardless of whether he was from the Sui family or not, wouldn't Zhou Ruoguang still teach him a lesson? Lu Baoqiang invited the 4 people to eat Haagen-Dazs ice cream upstairs in the Xinhing department store. This was a very high-end cold drink, but Yang Ming's interest in these sweets was not very strong, so he didn't taste anything particularly delicious. However, Chen Mengyan and Lu Ting both ate happily. When paying the bill, Yang Ming didn't argue. Lu Baoqiang had already said that he would treat. If he argued again, it would be a bit of looking down on others. After eating the cold drink, the 4 people strolled around the mall for a while before driving to the Immortal Resort in West Star Mountain. At this time, Wei Jin, who was mentioned by Lu Ting and Lu Baoqiang, had already arrived at the Immortal Resort. He was in the lounge, chatting with a tall and thin young man. I say, cousin, aren't you too miserable? From what you're saying, you didn't even manage to get 2 girls. Wei Jin lit a cigar and put it in his mouth, which he stole from his father's study. Don't mention it. Among our relatives, my family is the most miserable. My parents are too cowardly. They don't know how to make a fortune with the family's connections. Unlike my uncle, you actually made such a big name in Songjiang. You're fucking awesome. Zhou Ruoguang said very unhappily, do you have any more cigars? Give me one to try. Here you go. Don't smoke too much. I only have 2. Wei Jin took out another cigar and threw it to Zhou Ruoguang. He smiled and said, me. Damn, you may not believe it. I pursued a junior high school female classmate in university, but I couldn't get her. That girl actually followed a nouveau riche whose family opened a hot pot restaurant. Don't you think it's annoying? No way, right? Zhou Ruoguang didn't believe it. After taking the cigar, he smelled it with enjoyment. I heard that this is rubbed out on a woman's thigh. I don't know if it is true or not. Does it have a woman's body fragrance? Why not? Wei Jin smiled bitterly. The man looks very ordinary. Who knows how the girl fell for him? Hee, cousin, I know. Are you going to use this junior high school reunion to do something? Zhou Ruoguang smiled and asked suddenly. I can't hide it from you. Wei Jin smiled obscenely. I have prepared a good program this time. Lu Baoqiang, I will make you unable to return. Lu Baoqiang. Who is that? Zhou Ruoguang was stunned and asked. He is that girl's boyfriend, the nouveau riche whose family opened a hot pot restaurant. Wei Jin explained. Oh. Cousin, do you have any tricks? Tell me quickly. Then I will apply what I learned. Zhou Ruoguang's heart moved and asked. Why, cousin? Do you want to deal with someone too? Wei Jin looked at Zhou Ruoguang and asked. Zhou Ruoguang was so angry when he thought of Yang Ming's evil smile. I was harmed by him in the past. If there is a chance, I must take revenge. Didn't you know about the incident in Mount Jing last time? I want revenge. It's that incident. Wei Jin also remembered. Sui Guangheng seemed to have mentioned that Zhou Ruoguang was bullied before. He also greeted Wei Jin and asked Wei Jin to see if he could avenge Zhou Ruoguang in Songjiang. However, because Wei Jin was busy pursuing Lu Ting, he forgot about it. At this moment, when Zhou Ruoguang reminded him, he remembered it. Chapter 9:16. Yeah, it's disgusting when I think about it. That Yang Ming, I really want to kill him. Zhou Ruoguang said viciously. At that time in Mount Jing, he was beaten up badly. Although it was not Yang Ming who did it personally, it had an unclear relationship with Yang Ming. Even Sui Guangheng couldn't defend the person who did it, so the beating was in vain. Although Sui Guangheng said afterward that he would help Zhou Ruoguang get revenge, Zhou Ruoguang also knew that the Sui family's power was only in the range of Mount Jing. Even Sui Guangqi couldn't affect Songjiang. Therefore, if he wanted to get revenge, he could only count on his cousin, Wei Jin, who was very powerful in Songjiang. However, in terms of relationship, naturally, the relationship between Sui Guangheng and Wei Jin was better. Although Zhou Ruoguang was also Wei Jin's cousin, because his family was very ordinary, he always felt that there was some estrangement with Wei Jin. However, Wei Jin was quite good to this cousin, and he didn't put on a biased lens. The most important thing was that this cousin was the same as himself. He belonged to the kind of insidious man who looked talented on the surface, but he always did some immoral things behind his back. Therefore, this plan was to find Zhou Ruoguang and let him cooperate with him to act out a play. Of course, it was aimed at Lu Baoqiang and Lu Ting. According to Wei Jin's investigation, besides holding hands, Lu Baoqiang and Lu Ting kissed at most. They had not developed a further relationship, so this was why Wei Jin was determined to get Lu Ting as soon as possible. Otherwise, after Lu Ting was taken to bed by Lu Baoqiang, Wei Jin wouldn't feel very good when he caught up with Lu Ting. The plan was actually very simple. That was to let Zhou Ruoguang play the role of an ordinary guest in the resort, and then find a lady in the resort who pretended to be Zhou Ruoguang's girlfriend. Then, she would lure Lu Baoqiang into a trap and play a trick with him. Playing a trick in the immortal resort. Hee, it's really creative. Wei Jin thought lasciviously. The reason why he chose the immortal resort was that it was the Sui family's property. Even if he played big, no one would interfere, and the lady would be his own people, so there would be no accidents. Don't worry. Little brother, I will avenge you. If this trick works today, I will help you direct a scene tomorrow. Wei Jinhe smiled and patted Zhou Ruoguang's shoulder. Great. It's settled then. Zhou Ruoguang said excitedly, Wei Jin, hurry up and tell your cousin the specific plan. How do you want me to cooperate? It's like this. Wei Jin told Zhou Ruoguang his plan. Zhou Ruoguang's eyes lit up as he listened. Then, he slapped his thigh and shouted, wonderful. This is too fucking amazing. This time, that Lu Ting must break up with that brat Lu Baoqiang. Cousin, you have an opportunity. Hee, don't you know who I am? Only I, your little brother, can think of such an awesome move. Wei Jin was a little complacent because of Zhou Ruoguang. He took the tricks he saw in the movie as his own. Okay, then it's getting late. Hurry up and find the lady who is acting with me. Let's rehearse. It won't be good if we are exposed, said Zhou Ruoguang. And that's true. I will go and find someone. Wei Jin nodded and turned out of the room. Zhou Ruoguang was furious in his heart. Motherfucker, Yang Ming, I will use this trick to kill you. However, if Yang Ming knew Zhou Ruoguang's thoughts, would he cry or laugh? He would cry because he was so easily fooled. Wang Jitao played the last trick. You still have the nerve to use it. He would laugh because the more it was like this, the less threatening this opponent was. He could simply ignore him. Wei Jin was very familiar with the people at the Immortal Resort. He called his uncle, Sui Yuemin, and told him that he was going to have a class reunion at the resort. He asked him to inform the people below and try to cooperate with him. Sui Yuemin had a good relationship with Wei Jin's father. Moreover, the Immortal Resort was relatively close to Songjiang, so the construction and maintenance of the resort were basically done by Wei Jin's father's company. Sui Yuemin also saved a lot of maintenance costs, so when Wei Jin asked, he naturally agreed. Wei Jin entered the room and found the resort's mother, Sister Gu. Sister Gu knew that this was a relative of the boss's family. The relationship was extraordinary, so she greeted him warmly. Isn't this young Master Wei? I haven't come to play for a long time. I miss you so much. Although Sister Gu was a little old, in her 30s, she didn't look old because she took good care of herself. She was very flirtatious, and her kung fu was particularly good. Wei Jin played with her a few times, and it was very refreshing. What's wrong, Sister Gu? You miss me already? Wei Jin chuckled and pinched Sister Gu's buttocks. See if I don't kill you, you little bitch. Sister Gu was in the position of a mother, so she naturally didn't lack money. She played with Wei Jin not only because he was a relative of the boss's family, but also because Wei Jin was young and strong. Although his endurance wasn't good, she couldn't handle it many times. Who is afraid of who? Young Master Wei, why don't you go in and try it now? Sister Gu winked at Wei Jin. Not now. There is still business. Although Wei Jin was tempted by Sister Gu, he still waved his hand and said, wait until tonight. I will play with you to your heart's content. Although he was very happy to play with Sister Gu, physical and mental satisfaction were completely different. Wei Jin felt that pursuing Lu Ting was more important. Say it. What is the business? Sister will help you settle it. Sister Gu rolled her eyes at Wei Jin and smiled charmingly. Find me a more reliable and prettier young lady. She must be beautiful. It won't do if she isn't beautiful. Wei Jin said in a low voice. Looking for a lady. Sister Gu was stunned, and then she was a little unhappy. Why, young Master Wei? You don't like playing with your sister, so you want to change to a new one. Sister Gu, look at what you said. Am I that kind of person? Wei Jin said with a smile, how can those people be as good as Sister Gu? I won't go even if you ask me to. I am looking for someone to act with me. Act? What act? When Sister Gu heard that Wei Jin wasn't looking for a lady to play with, she put away her unhappy look. She wondered and asked, besides doing that, how can a lady act? Yes, it is acting. I found my cousin, Zhou Ruoguang, to act with him. Wei Jin nodded and said, this is the case. Aren't I going to hold a junior high school reunion here today? There is a girl that I have been pursuing recently, but she already has a boyfriend. I want to find a lady and let her play a badger game with my cousin to kill the girl's boyfriend. Ha, you can come up with this idea. After Sister Gu heard it, she glanced at Wei Jin and smiled. Okay, this is not easy to do. Just leave it to Sister Gu. However, after you have a little lover, you can't forget your Sister Gu, right? How can that be? To be honest, I like to play with Sister Gu the most. What do those little girls know? Wei Jin smiled obscenely. But sister, you can't be my girlfriend, right? Sister Gu naturally understood that it was absolutely impossible for her to become Wei Jin's girlfriend. Even if Wei Jin agreed, Wei Jin's father would never agree. Wei Jin's father was also a reputable figure in Songjiang. How could his son's girlfriend not be with an innocent family? What am I? I am a withered flower. However, Sister Gu was also satisfied to be Wei Jin's lover. Otherwise, as a woman, even if she was doing well now, without a strong background, once something happened, she would be a victim. So as long as she firmly held on to Wei Jin, this upstart, there would be no problem. You still have a conscience. Sister Gu pointed at Wei Jin's forehead and said, should I find one for you now? And let's find him now. Let him rehearse the lines with my cousin first. Wei Jin nodded. Suddenly, he had an idea and said, Sister Gu, is there anyone sick? Sick people. Sister Gu was stunned and immediately understood Wei Jin's meaning. Young Master Wei, you are really bad. A great man must be ruthless, right? Hee, in this way, I want to see how he can pick up girls. Wei Jin smiled insidiously. There is, but this illness is a bit too much. Will something happen? Sister Gu put away her smile and whispered. What illness? Asked Wei Jin. AIDS, said Sister Gu. Hey! Wei Jin was stunned, and then there was a trace of ruthlessness in his eyes. Okay, it will be her. This time, let's see if I don't kill him. But Sister Gu's courage was not as big as Scarf, and she was still a little worried. There are no buts, Sister Gu. What are you afraid of? Is there anything in Songjiang that my dad can't handle? Wei Jin said disdainfully, don't worry. That kid's family is just a nouveau riche. He just opened a small hot pot restaurant. How can he compare with me? Okay, then Sister Gu will be on the same boat with you in the future. You can't abandon Sister Gu. Sister Gu gritted her teeth and agreed, but in exchange, Sister Gu wanted a promise from Wei Jin. Wei Jin naturally knew what Sister Gu meant, so he smiled and said, but Sister Gu, if you follow me, you can't have anything to do with other men. Young Master Wei, do you still not believe me? Since we got together last year, I haven't been with anyone else. Sister Gu said coquettishly. Hee, I believe you. Of course, I believe you. Wei Jin pinched Sister Gu's face and said, okay, go and find the person. My cousin is still waiting to rehearse the lines with her. That's fine. Young Master Wei, you wait for me in the room for a while. I will go and find the person for you. After Sister Gu got the answer she wanted, she happily went to do it. Chapter 9:17. Wei Ji nodded and went into Sister Gu's room to wait. As soon as he entered the room, Wei Jin was stunned at first, and then he began to spy on the items in the room with interest. The simple hangers in the room were full of Sister Gu's underwear. All of them were super sexy. Wei Jin suddenly felt a little restless. Wei Jin pretended to be a decent person at school. In fact, he was the same as Zhou Ruoguang. He was a very lascivious person. Now that he saw the underwear in front of him, he couldn't help but walk over and put his face close to it. He wanted to smell if there was still Sister Gu's scent on it. As he was smelling, the door was pushed open, and Sister Gu walked in with a young lady. Although Zhou Ruoguang heard the sound of the door opening, he jumped back a few steps and turned himself into a normal person, but he was still a step too late. Sister Gu, who was walking in front, saw it, but Sister Gu didn't expose it. She was secretly happy. The more young Master Wei was infatuated with her, the easier her future path would be. With the support of young Master Wei, it wouldn't be difficult to open her own place in Songjiang in the future. However, the young lady behind her naturally couldn't see it. Sister Gu wouldn't let her see anything. Even if Wei Jin didn't react quickly, Sister Gu would give him time to react. Young Master Wei, I found the person for you. What do you think? Sister Gu looked at Wei Jin with a smile and asked. Wei Jin calmed down his lascivious thoughts and tried to make himself normal. He raised his head and glanced at the young lady that Sister Gu found. She was very attractive. If he didn't know that this woman was sick before, even Wei Jin would be tempted. But since he already knew the situation of this woman, Wei Jin naturally had no interest at all. He didn't dare to have any interest. Who would joke about their own life? Wei Jin nodded, indicating that he was satisfied. Then he opened his handbag and took out 5 stacks of 100 yuan bills that had been prepared. He threw them on the coffee table next to him and said, "This is 50,000 yuan. I want you to do something. Is there a problem? If you agree, I will tell you the details. If you don't agree, you can go now." Agree. Of course, I agree. When the young lady saw the banknotes on the coffee table, her eyes immediately lit up. She was already sick, and she could not receive guests to earn money. She also had to spend money to treat the illness. This 50,000 yuan was undoubtedly a timely help. How could she not accept it? Therefore, he agreed without even thinking about it. Well, since you agree, then I will say it. Wei Jin nodded and said, "What's your name?" "Young Master Wei, my name is Xiao Yan," the young lady said. "I'm asking you what your full name is. I didn't ask for your nickname." Wei Jin said with a frown. "Young Master Wei, our names are confidential, this." Xiao Yan said awkwardly. "Fuck." Wei Jin waved his hand. "I fucking asked you to cooperate with the act. You have to have a name, right? Otherwise, what should I call you?" "Oh, then my name is Xiaoyan." Xiao Yan said quickly. "And then Xiaoyan." Wei Jin wanted to continue, but he saw Sister Gu's hollowed-out underwear from the corner of his eyes. Suddenly, the fire of desire in his heart burned again. Looking at Sister Gu wearing a cotton qipao, he couldn't control himself, so he waved to Zhao Xiaoyan and said, "So, you go to room 318. My cousin is there. Let him tell you the detailed plan. You just have to fully cooperate with him. I still have something else to do. You go first." "Okay." Zhao Xiaoyan didn't care. Getting the money was the most important thing. She nodded, pointed to the banknotes on the coffee table and asked, "The money on this table, I will give you 20,000 yuan first. After the matter is done, I will give you 30,000 yuan. Wei Jin waved his hand impatiently. "Thank you, young Master Wei." Zhao Xiaoyan took 2 stacks of banknotes in her hand and happily went out to find Zhou Ruoguang. 20,000 yuan was already a lot. Even if the matter was done wrong in the end, wouldn't there be an income of 20,000 yuan? So, how could Zhao Xiaoyan not be happy? Elder Sister Gu was a little puzzled. Why did Wei Jin drive Zhao Xiaoyan out halfway? Just as she was about to ask, Wei Jin hugged her in his arms. Sister Gu said, "Young Master Wei, no, I can't help it. You little slut, you actually hung these underwear in the room." Wei Jin began to take off his clothes without any explanation. Young Master Wei was interested in her. How could Sister Gu not cooperate? Wasn't this what she was looking forward to? She gasped and began to tease Wei Jin skillfully. After a while, obscene sounds came from the room. After Zhao Xiaoyan put away the 20,000 yuan, she hurried to the door of room 318 mentioned by Wei Jin. She knocked on the door and heard a male voice inside ask, "Who is it? Come in." Zhao Xiaoyan pushed open the door of the room and walked in. After seeing Zhou Ruoguang, she said softly, "Hello, sir." I was called by young Master Wei to cooperate with you. Oh. Where is my cousin? Zhou Ruoguang was playing on the computer when he heard a very pleasant voice, which made his heart itch. When he looked up, he was even more stunned. Oh my god, why is this chick so beautiful? Li Yundong thought. Young Master Wei said that he had other things to do, so he asked me to come over by myself. He said that I should listen to you. Zhao Xiaoyan said happily. Nonsense, the man in front of her was one of her employers. She just got 20,000 yuan. How could she not be happy? Listen to me. Zhou Ruoguang's heart suddenly swayed. He didn't care about the gobang that was playing with others in front of him. His lustful eyes couldn't leave Zhao Xiaoyan's body. The player on the other side of the computer was about to win, but Zhou Ruoguang stopped. He was so angry that he began to curse. Hurry up, are you dead? Motherfucker, you are stalling for time after losing, right? Zhao Xiaoyan was immersed in the joy of 20,000 yuan. She didn't notice Zhou Ruoguang's expression. She nodded and said, yes, young Master Wei said that I should cooperate with you. When Zhou Ruoguang heard Zhao Xiaoyan's words, he couldn't help it. He and Wei Jin were the same kind of people. They were all lascivious in their bones. They pretended to be serious on the surface, but in fact, they were very flirtatious in their hearts. Wei Jin was better. He often had a place to solve his physiological needs, but Zhou Ruoguang was different. He usually stayed in school. At most, he would go to the bathroom after watching a small movie. He hadn't had any serious experience with a woman yet. When he was suddenly provoked by Zhao Xiaoyan, he couldn't control himself. Your task is to act as my girlfriend. Zhou Ruoguang thought, anyway, the other party is a lady. It shouldn't matter if I do it, so he said very lasciviously, in order not to be exposed during the performance, let's get familiar with each other first. How do we get familiar with each other? Zhao Xiaoyan asked quickly. She really wanted to get the remaining 30,000 yuan, so she was very concerned about what Zhou Ruoguang said. That's it. Zhou Ruoguang couldn't wait to pounce on Zhao Xiaoyan. He pressed her down on the sofa and kissed her. Zhao Xiaoyan was stunned. What is this? Did young Master Wei not tell his cousin that I am sick? Or is the person young Master Wei wants to harm his cousin? Zhao Xiaoyan hesitated. The words she wanted to ask were on the tip of her tongue, but she couldn't ask because her entire mouth had been blocked by Zhou Ruoguang. Zhao Xiaoyan was shocked and suspicious. She didn't know what to do. However, at the last moment, Zhao Xiaoyan still refused desperately. Sir, Zhou Ruoguang thought that Zhao Xiaoyan was unwilling, so he was a little annoyed. What the fuck is wrong with you? Didn't my cousin ask you to cooperate with me? You have to do what I ask you to do. You took the money and didn't do anything. In a while, you will still be fucked by others. No. Zhao Xiaoyan was shocked when she saw Zhou Ruoguang was angry. She hurriedly explained, what you? Zhou Ruoguang glared and said anxiously, if you don't want to, I will ask my cousin to change you. Don't. Zhao Xiaoyan was immediately scared when she heard the change. She didn't dare to go against Zhou Ruoguang's wishes, but she still reminded him, then let's take some safety measures, don't be so direct, take my ass. Zhou Ruoguang was now like an arrow on the bow. He didn't listen to Zhao Xiaoyan's words at all. He leaned over and said, after you are done, you can take the medicine yourself. Zhao Xiaoyan saw that things had become an established fact, so she had no choice but to cooperate with Zhou Ruoguang. As for Zhou Ruoguang, seeing that Zhao Xiaoyan was so cooperative, he was even more refreshed. It didn't take long for him to fuck her twice, thrice. However, Zhou Ruoguang looked at the time. It had been more than an hour. If his cousin came back, it wouldn't look good. At least, he would lose some face, so he quickly told Zhao Xiaoyan to put on her clothes, and he hurriedly put on his clothes. Don't tell my cousin about what happened just now. Otherwise, I have the ability to make you not get a penny. Afterward, Zhou Ruoguang threatened fiercely. After all, this Zhao Xiaoyan was found to cooperate with him. He had fucked her first. Although it was nothing to let Wei Jin know, it wasn't very good, so Zhou Ruoguang reminded Zhao Xiaoyan. Zhao Xiaoyan was afraid that Wei Jin would know about her fucking with Zhou Ruoguang. Now that Zhou Ruoguang said so, how could she refuse? Anyway, she would take the money and run away. Even if Wei Jin knew about it afterward, it had nothing to do with her. Zhou Ruoguang waited for Zhao Xiaoyan to go to the bathroom to dress up, then he sat on the sofa like a normal person. Chapter 9:18. Brother Zhou, now we. Zhao Xiaoyan already knew Zhou Ruoguang's name. She just wanted to get the remaining 30,000 yuan. She didn't care if Zhou Ruoguang was infected by her. She sat next to Zhou Ruoguang and said softly. And now let's talk about business. Seeing that Wei Jin hadn't come back yet, Zhou Ruoguang breathed a sigh of relief. If Wei Jin saw him and Zhao Xiaoyan having sex in the room, it wouldn't look good. Now, everything was ready. He threatened Zhao Xiaoyan. Even if Wei Jin came in, he wouldn't find anything. How would he know that his good cousin, Wei Jin, had just done the same thing as him? Zhou Ruoguang stood up and opened the door that had just been locked. Then, he sat at the computer desk far away from Zhao Xiaoyan and said, "This is the case. My cousin fell in love with a girl, but this girl has another boyfriend. So, the two of us cooperated to play a badger game. Do you know what a badger game is?" Zhao Xiaoyan nodded. Of course, she knew about the badger game. This kind of scam was always shown on TV. And, since you know, then I won't say more. Zhou Ruoguang nodded. You are going to seduce the girl's boyfriend and then get him to bed. After that, I will catch the adulterers and make things big. Of course, it is to let the girl see it. Then, your mission will be complete. Just take the money you deserve and leave. It's that simple. Zhao Xiaoyan was delighted. It seemed that this task was quite easy. It's that simple. How about it? This time, you didn't feel that you lost anything because of me, right? Zhou Ruoguang smiled. Besides, didn't you feel good just now? That's true. Zhao Xiaoyan nodded. She thought, it's cool, but the price you paid is too heavy. So, you should keep this matter to yourself. Don't mention it to my cousin. Otherwise, it won't end well. Zhou Ruoguang was afraid that Zhao Xiaoyan would spill the beans, so he reminded her again. Don't worry, brother Zhou. I won't say it. Zhao Xiaoyan thought, I won't say it even if you ask me. Do you think I'm stupid? If I say it, it will definitely not end well for me. Well, in that case, I'm relieved. Zhou Ruoguang nodded and said, let's finalize the details. Wei Jin got up from Sister Gu and looked at the time. It was almost time for the class reunion. Wei Jin put on his clothes, patted Sister Gu's back, and said, I will come to you at night. Yes, I'll be waiting for you. Sister Gu said lazily as she lay on the bed. Wei Jin went to Sister Gu's room and went to room 318 where Zhou Ruoguang was. He happened to see Zhou Ruoguang and Zhao Xiaoyan discussing the details, so he said happily, both of you have worked hard. Don't worry, after the matter is done, I won't mistreat anyone. Hey! Zhou Ruoguang said indifferently, we're family. Why are you saying that? Don't worry, Cousin, I promise you'll be satisfied. Well, that's fine. Before the acting, I'll call and inform you. Now you should rest first and restore your energy so that you can act for me. Wei Jin nodded, then stood up and said, Then I'll go first. My classmates will be here soon. I won't accompany you, cousin. Okay, you can rest assured. Keep in touch by phone. Zhou Ruoguang was overjoyed. He could take advantage of this gap in a while and do a few more things with Zhao Xiaoyan. Today's class reunion was organized by Wei Jin and Hong Kai, who had a good relationship with him in junior high school. As soon as he walked to the entrance of the Immortal Resort's lobby, Wei Jin received a call from Hong Kai. Hey, buddy, where are you? Wei Jin arranged his big event and was in a good mood. He felt energetic when he spoke. I'm here. Immortal Resort. Where are you? Asked Hong Kai. I'm in the main hall of the resort reception. You'll see me when you come in, said Wei Jin. Okay, wait for me to park the car first. Hong Kai finished and hung up the phone. It didn't take long for a tall man with a buzz cut to push the door into the reception of the Immortal Resort. Hong Kai, here. Wei Jin saw Hong Kai at a glance and waved to him. Hey, I say, buddy, I haven't seen you for a few days. How did you lose weight again? Hong Kai also saw Wei Jin and walked quickly to him. The relationship between the two was good, so Hong Kai joked directly. Don't mention it. Damn, I didn't even get a girl. I'm depressed. How can I not lose weight? Wei Jin said with a bitter face. He and Hong Kai had been friends for many years, so he didn't hide it. Is it Lu Ting? Hong Kai and Lu Ting were junior high school classmates, so they naturally knew each other. Who else could it be? Wei Jin shrugged, leaned back, and leaned on the sofa. I don't understand. What am I missing? Why is it so hard to chase a girl? Don't talk about you. Am I not the same? In the past, I chased Chen Mengyan, but I didn't get her. Now, I still can't forget her. Hong Kai sighed regretfully. I say, Hong Kai. Are you kidding me? After so many years, you still haven't forgotten your first love? After listening to Hong Kai's words, Wei Jin laughed. What are you laughing at? It seems like you didn't chase Chen Mengyan. Hong Kai said disdainfully. Me? I did chase her, but I was wise. I changed my target and chased Lu Ting instead. Wei Jin shook his head and said, Chen Mengyan, that chick, is stubborn. She simply doesn't have any thoughts of dating others. Besides, you know what her father does. I'm afraid that if I continue to harass her, she will directly treat me as a rogue and arrest me. You are afraid of wolves in front and tigers behind. What is there to be afraid of? Li Xuan and I chased her for 3 years, but nothing happened. Hong Kai said proudly. Yeah, you chased her for 3 years, but you didn't get her. Wei Jin snorted and made fun of him. Okay, it's the pot calling the kettle black. You changed your target, but it doesn't seem to be any better. Didn't Lu Ting fall into the arms of others? Hong Kai hugged Wei Jin's shoulder and laughed. You see, buddy. At the latest tomorrow, Lu Ting will have to break up with the kid. Wei Jin said proudly. What do you mean? Hong Kai was stunned and asked in confusion. I tell you, I have already set a trap for the kid. He will be finished tonight. Wei Jin whispered, I set a trap for him. Trap? Hong Kai rolled his eyes after listening. No way, you also learned to play dirty. Humph, a great man is ruthless. Wei Jin sneered. You have to fight for your own happiness. This is really a wise saying. But, what if Lu Ting forgives the kid? You also know that women in love are very stupid. Hong Kai asked with some worry. Hee, I have my own plan. Wei Jin smiled mysteriously. Damn, if you have something to say it quickly. I can cooperate with you at that time. Hong Kai said with some dissatisfaction, you are still being mysterious with your brother. What's wrong with keeping people in suspense? Don't be angry. Then I will tell you. Wei Jin whispered in Hong Kai's ear, the woman I found is sick. What disease? Asked Hong Kai. AIDS. Wei Jin said with a smile. Damn. No way, right? You are so ruthless. Hong Kai was surprised. I didn't see it. Wei Jin, you have improved now. This brother is really happy for you. That's right. Wei Jin nodded and said, it turns out that I was too nice, so I let Lu Ting be snatched away by that kid. Otherwise, I would have forced myself on her and settled the matter. Lu Ting's family is not like Chen Mingyan's family. There is no background, so it is easy to settle. Besides, I am not playing with her, but I really want to get along with her. Your trick is good. Hong Kai thought so and praised. Now, whether Lu Ting Yuan forgives that brat or not, you're already sure to win. If Lu Ting doesn't forgive the kid, then forget it. If she forgives him, you can reveal that the girl is an AIDS patient. Let's see if Lu Ting still dares to be with the kid. Hong Kai knows me well. Wei Jin nodded and said. The two people laughed at the same time. Right, today is the class reunion. Is Chen Mengyan coming? After the two laughed, Hong Kai suddenly thought of something and asked in a low voice. Chen Mengyan. I really didn't pay attention to it. I say, buddy, are you serious? You really can't forget her. Wei Jin didn't believe it. How many years has it been? Why is this kid so infatuated? Aren't you the same for Lu Ting? Hong Kai asked. I'm different. Lu Ting and I are now college classmates. How many years have you not seen Chen Mengyan? Wei Jin said in disbelief. Hey, you don't know how beautiful Chen Mengyan is now. She is even more beautiful than before. It's not an exaggeration to say that she is the city flower. Said Hong Kai. How do you know? Have you seen her later? Asked Wei Jin. I haven't seen her in person, but I have seen her photo. Don't we have a QQ group in our class? I found Chen Mingyan's QQ number in it and secretly entered her space. Then, I saw her photo. Hong Kai whispered. Damn, you are really boring, but I remember that her space has a password. Wei Jin blurted out. Damn. You said that I am boring. How do you know that her space has a password? Hong Kai said sarcastically. I went in to see if there was any news of Lu Ting in her space. Wei Jin explained with a red face, I found that there was a password. Then, can't you just enter Lu Ting's space directly? Hong Kai didn't believe it. I wanted to go in, but Lu Ting's space had a password. I thought of going to Chen Mingyan's space to see if I could find any clues. Wei Jin didn't lie. He really wanted to enter Lu Ting's space. Chapter 9:19. Ha, buddy, you don't understand this, right? Hong Kai smiled mysteriously and said to Wei Jin, let me tell you a good software called QQ Space Album Viewer. If you use this software, you don't need the space password. You can directly enter the space's album to view it. Damn. No way, there is such a badass software. Wei Jin was suddenly interested after listening. Then he said with a smirk, I have an opponent in school. He sent the photos of him and his girlfriend into the space, but he set a password so others can't see it. If I use this software to get their photos, hee. Your situation doesn't seem to work. This software can only be used for the space password, but it can't be used for the album password. Hong Kai shook his head and said. If that's the case, I was fucking excited for nothing. I was still thinking about using this to mess with the opponent. Wei Jin said disappointedly. However, I will use this to look at Lu Ting's album when I go back. Okay, wait for me to upload it to you from QQ, Hong Kai promised. You brat, this gathering isn't for Chen Mengyan, right? Asked Wei Jin. Almost. Otherwise, who the fuck is so free to come and see you do something like this? It's better for me to sleep at home. Said Hong Kai. I don't know what the kid, Li Yixuan, is going to do. You were at odds with him in the past. Wei Jin suddenly thought of Hong Kai's love rival. Damn, that guy always suppressed me with the power of his family. Now I'm not afraid of him. Hong Kai said with some emotion and resentment. You know that his family hasn't developed in the past few years. Wei Jin was still a little afraid of Li Yixuan. That guy's elder brother seemed to be in the underworld. Although his father was not what he used to be, Wei Jin was not willing to provoke people who were related to the underworld. This kind of person was the most taboo for businessmen. Although Wei Jin's father was in real estate and often didn't play by the rules, it was also a small matter. Compared with the real people, it was far worse. Hong Kai listened to Wei Jin's words and somewhat disagreed. Are you, kid, scared by him in the past? What the fuck can he do? His family is from Donghai. He can't do it in Songjiang. I just feel that it's better to stay away from those kinds of people. They're not on the same side as us. Wei Jinsong was a little afraid of Li Yixuan. Back then, because he tried to please Chen Mengyan, he was surrounded by Li Yixuan and a group of gangsters. He was scared, and then he shifted his target to Lu Ting. However, Hong Kai's family also had some power. His father was the big boss of the Eastern Goods Yard. He also had some workers under him, and they belonged to the underworld. Therefore, Li Yixuan couldn't gain any advantage when he fought with Hong Kai. In recent years, Hong Kai's family had become bigger and bigger. It seemed that they had monopolized the wholesale market of Songjiang Harbor, so Hong Kai was arrogant. What's there to be afraid of? Hong Kai curled his lips and said, if he continues to pretend to be an egg in front of me this time, see if I don't deal with him. In the blink of an eye, it was already 1:00 in the afternoon. His junior high school classmates had arrived at the Immortal Resort. Wei Jin put away his previous lecherous look and restored his gentlemanly appearance. In the past, Wei Jin was the class monitor in the class. Now, he was also a member of the student union in the university. It was just that he was very good at disguising in front of people, pretending to be a good student. People who were not familiar with him rarely knew how dirty his heart was. In this regard, he was very similar to Zhou Ruoguang. Zhou Ruoguang was also a student union cadre in the university. He usually pretended to be a decent person, but at this moment, he was having sex with Zhao Xiaoyan in the room. Originally, there was still a chance of HIV transmission. Once in a half, there was still a chance of not being infected. Although the chance was very small, there was still that possibility. But for Zhou Ruoguang's current situation, he was probably infected with HIV. Zhao Xiaoyan originally had a perfunctory attitude with Zhou Ruoguang, but since she was infected, Zhao Xiaoyan had not done it for a long time. She was very refreshed by Zhou Ruoguang's continuous sex, so she simply went all out. The two spent the whole afternoon on the sofa. Although Hong Kai was also very lecherous, he was also a class cadre in junior high school. Although he was not a class cadre, he was still a sports committee member, and he could enter the class committee. When the two saw that their classmates were coming one after another, their faces immediately put on a sunny smile. They organized the students to start to register and collect activity funds of 50 yuan per person. Although Wei Jin was rich, he was not willing to spend this kind of meaningless money. Anyway, it was a class reunion, so everyone should share it equally. 50 yuan was not a big sum of money for current students. Of course, many people came with their boyfriends and girlfriends, so they just had to pay double the money. The more Wei Jin did not want to see someone, the more he met that person. Li Xuan swaggered in, and the smile on Wei Jin's face suddenly froze. The incident in the past could be said to be a shame for Wei Jin, but at that time, Wei Jin's father was just a contractor at a small construction site. Compared with Li Xuan's brother who opened a bathing center, he was far worse. But now it was different. Thinking that his father was also a powerful figure, Wei Jin's heart felt a little more comfortable. Isn't this Li Xuan? Why, did you come alone? You didn't bring your girlfriend. I haven't gotten a girlfriend yet. Li Xuan was like this. He said bluntly. The speaker had no intention, but the listener had a heart. Hong Kai began to ponder in his heart. Is this guy still pursuing Chen Mengyan? Thinking of this, he couldn't help but probe, who is it? Even young Master Li can't handle it. Is it more difficult to handle than Chen Mengyan? Li Xuan listened to Hong Kai's words and couldn't help but look at him with a deep meaning. He said, even if I said it, you wouldn't know. Hong Kai didn't have the intention to know who Li Xuan was pursuing now. As long as it wasn't Chen Mengyan, then everything was fine. So, he smiled and said, it seems that young Master Li has changed his target. Then I am relieved. Are you still pursuing Chen Mengyan? Li Xuan had some doubts before. Now, after listening to Hong Kai's words, he was more certain. Yeah, but I haven't caught up with her yet. Hong Kai was not afraid to admit it. Young Master Li, in fact, the contradiction between us is nothing more than Chen Mengyan. Now that you don't like her, then we can be good friends. Is that so? Li Xuan asked. Although Li Xuan also had some social experience, he was essentially different from Wei Jin and Hong Kai. Li Xuan was a forthright person. He didn't like to play any tricks. He was daring. But Wei Jin and Hong Kai were different. Both of them were bad people. Li Xuan was not willing to be with people like them. Moreover, Li Xuan had already met Chen Mengyan's boyfriend before. The two of them had a good chat. Li Xuan naturally wouldn't stand on the side of Wei Jin and Hong Kai. However, Hong Kai, I guess you will be disappointed this time. Chen Mengyan already has a boyfriend. Already? Hong Kai listened to Li Xuan's words and suddenly frowned. Originally, he wanted to find an opportunity to get close to Chen Mengyan at this class reunion, but he didn't expect someone to beat him to it. Li Xuan looked at Hong Kai's stunned look and found it funny. He couldn't help but want to say a few sarcastic words, but when he looked up, he saw an acquaintance. Yang Ming. Chen Mengyan. Li Xuan waved his hand in the direction of the door and shouted. For Yang Ming to teach him how to pick up girls, Li Xuan was still very grateful, so when he saw Yang Ming, he immediately greeted him in a friendly manner. Li Xuan. You are here, too. Yang Ming smiled and nodded to him. He took Chen Mengyan's hand and walked over. Behind Yang Ming were Lu Ting and Lu Baoqiang. The two also walked over with Yang Ming. Hong Kai and Wei Jin's faces suddenly sank. The girls they liked were already taken. No matter who it was, their faces wouldn't look good. Lu Ting, you are here. Wei Jin thought of his plan, and his heart was refreshed. He pretended to be very friendly and greeted, Lu Baoqiang, you are here too. Lu Baoqiang was a little puzzled. Wei Jin had never given him a good face in school. What was going on today? He still has a smile on his face. However, as the saying goes, one doesn't hit a smiling person. Since Wei Jin greeted him with a smile, Lu Baoqiang couldn't say anything more, so he nodded in a friendly manner and said, "Yes, I came with Tingting. Have fun." Wei Jin nodded and still had a smile on his face. Even Lu Ting thought, did this guy change his personality? How did he become so kind? She paid the fee with Lu Baoqiang and stood aside. Today, Wei Jin acted as if he didn't see her. He didn't greet her as he did in the past, which made Lu Ting feel strange. When Hong Kai saw Chen Mengyan, he greeted her. "Mengyan, I haven't seen you for a long time. You are more beautiful." "Thank you." Chen Mengyan replied faintly. Now, she only had Yang Ming in her heart. She couldn't remember what Hong Kai looked like in the past. At this moment, she just nodded to Hong Kai out of the interest of being a classmate. "Who is this?" Hong Kai pretended to just notice Yang Ming. He turned his head and looked at Yang Ming like a master. Then, he said, "I am Mingyan's boyfriend in junior high school." In fact, Hong Kai had been observing Yang Ming for a long time. Looking at Yang Ming's tall appearance, he had some hostility. However, Hong Kai didn't put Yang Ming in his eyes. He was now the young master of Dongfeng Freight Yard's boss Hong. He had never been afraid of anyone. Therefore, Hong Kai directly gave Yang Ming a show of strength. He wanted to see the depth of this kid. Chapter 920. Hong Kai wasn't afraid of Yang Ming, but he was very afraid that Chen Mengyan would be unhappy. So when he said this, he had been paying attention to Chen Mengyan's expression. Unfortunately, Chen Mengyan's expression didn't change at all. It seemed that she didn't care at all. In fact, Chen Mengyan felt that it didn't matter. She knew that Yang Ming would definitely believe her. He was Yang Ming's first man. Moreover, the two of them had gone through many ups and downs since high school. Yang Ming couldn't doubt himself just because of a sentence from this guy in front of him. Therefore, Chen Mengyan felt that there was no need to explain to Yang Ming. He couldn't believe Hong Kai's words. Really? There was a strange smile on Yang Ming's face, but he said indifferently, "Are you resting today?" "Resting?" Hong Kai was suddenly stunned. Listening to Yang Ming's question, he was somewhat inexplicable. "Yes, we are resting." However, Hong Kai thought that Yang Ming was talking about the school holidays. Oh, the current mental hospitals are so humane. They even allow the patients to go out and participate in parties. Yang Ming nodded and said, "Or, are you recovering from your illness?" "But I don't think so." "Who are you saying is mentally ill?" Hong Kai finally understood that Yang Ming was scolding him for running out of the mental hospital. "I didn't say that you are mentally ill." Yang Ming shook his head sympathetically. "You just have serious delusions, but this is also a kind of mental illness. But the general mental patients won't admit that they have a mental illness." Hong Kai was so angry that his face was livid. He wanted to test Yang Ming, but he didn't expect to be ridiculed as mentally ill. Hong Kai couldn't help but be furious. But there was no other way. He really wasn't Chen Mingyan's boyfriend in junior high school. There was nothing wrong with people saying that he was delusional. Hee, Hong Kai likes to joke. Don't mind him. Wei Jin smiled and helped him out. "This brother, let me introduce myself. My name is Wei Jin, the former class monitor." "Hello, Yang Ming." Yang Ming and Wei Jin nodded. He had heard from Lu Baoqiang and Lu Ting that this guy wasn't a good person, so he didn't show much enthusiasm. "Hong Kai, why aren't you apologizing to Mengyan?" "You brat, you just shoot your mouth off and talk nonsense. Wei Jin gave Hong Kai a look and said. Chen Mengyan. It's just a joke. It's nothing. No one believed it anyway. Chen Mengyan said indifferently. She had never had a good impression of Hong Kai. When he was in junior high, other than writing love letters to her, all he did was fawn on her. Chen Mengyan was annoyed to the extreme. Hong Kai laughed twice. It seemed that he lost the first battle. He was unconvinced and thought about how to get back his face. As the organizer, Wei Jin still had many classmates to face, so he quickly put Lu Ting and the others aside and began to register busily. However, many junior high school classmates were no longer in Songjiang. There were only a dozen people here, but because many people came with couples, it didn't seem to be less. At 2:00, Wei Jin waited for another 10 minutes and then said, "It's almost time. Those who should come should be here. Let's go eat first, and then the program is up to you. Here, you can swim, bowling, sing karaoke, fitness, disco bar, and game hall. I will give everyone a pass here later." After that, Wei Jin found the lobby manager of the Immortal Resort and told her, "In a while, if my classmates come, you lead them directly to the second floor of the restaurant." "Okay, don't worry, young Master Wei." The lobby manager naturally knew Wei Jin's identity and promised quickly. Wei Jin nodded and called out to everyone, "Come with me." Chen Mengyan looked in the direction of the lobby door again and couldn't help but feel a little regretful. Big sister and second sister, none of them came. They were probably afraid of being embarrassed when they saw each other. Lu Ting saw Chen Mengyan's thoughts, so she whispered, "Mengyan, forget it. If they don't come, then don't come." Chen Mengyan nodded and walked in the direction of the restaurant with the crowd. Yang Ming had been here once before, so he was very familiar with the situation here. Although the people around him were different, it made Yang Ming feel like he was doing it all over again. At the table, these people were saying the same words and making the same flattering faces, trying to curry favor with Wei Jin and Hong Kai. "Old class monitor, when we were in school, everyone regarded you as the backbone. At that time, you took care of your brothers." A bespectacled boy with small eyes stood up, raised his glass, and boasted shamelessly. "Hee, that's right. The old class monitor will not forget everyone." Wei Jin was very comfortable with this flattery. He raised his glass and said proudly. This guy originally competed with Wei Jin for the class monitor. After losing the competition, he didn't talk to Wei Jin for 3 years. Li Xuan, who was sitting next to Yang Ming, explained to Yang Ming disdainfully. "What? Pfft." Yang Ming couldn't hold it in and spat out the drink that he had just drunk. Fortunately, Yang Ming reacted quickly. When he turned around, he spat out the drink on the ground. This guy probably wants to enter Wei Jin's real estate company after graduation. He is trying to get close. Li Xuan saw through the intention of the glasses man at a glance. Of course, the glasses man was only one of them. There were more flattering and more obvious ones. There was even a girl who pretended to be drunk in front of her boyfriend. She rubbed her chest on Wei Jin's body and kept flirting, "Old class monitor, do you remember me?